work. YouTube's changed its interface. Are we live? It says you are live. Okay. All right, let me know if you can see and hear everything. YouTube completely overhauled its streaming interface and it's unintelligible. So I think it's working. But yeah, we're gonna be overclocking the R3 3100 today. And the goal is to see if we can go past 5 gigahertz. It should be, okay, it's live. It's actually, is it playing on your screen? Yeah. Okay, cool. I need to, okay, there. Does it show volume as muted on yours? Just so it doesn't feed back into itself. On the YouTube player window? I can't tell. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna be overclocking the 3100 and we're using liquid nitrogen to do it. The goal is to just use this one because it's cheap and that'll make it more fun. So we could do the 3300X, but honestly, I really just want to do the 3100 because it's $100. Still says reading super chats. Yes, that is because that's what we're going to do. So you can send the first one if you want. But I think I saw Roman in here a second ago. Why not 3300X? Because I want to do the 3100 because it's the cheapest, like 4-core 8-thread CPU, and the 1600AF is not really available. So should be fun. I'm gonna kind of wait for chat to fill in. Let me tweet out that we are live now, and we'll get going with it. The stream today, we're gonna be using an MSI X570 Godlike for the motherboard, which we've had good luck with. So one of the problems with liquid nitrogen work is all the insulation that's needed. And it's easier these days to just use Vaseline all over the board. That does mean that I try to stick to like basically one board for all of the XOC stuff because it just gets so coated that it's gross to work with for normal reviews, and we don't really want to mix and match if we can avoid it. So yeah, this is the Godlike. We've used it in the past for streams. See, we are live with the 3100 XOC stream. Okay. Cool, so that's out there. And we got a couple super chats. I need to find, oh, is that the button now? Oh, it's telling me I can send a super chat. No, that's not what I'm looking for. All right, well, we'll do this the old-fashioned way. So we got one from Tom Kavulik, who said, first, $5, thank you very much. And then there was another one, I think, from Eskimonster 20 DKK. Goat bless you. Okay, well, thank you. I'm sure that's meaningful somewhere. Okay, so yeah, 3100. We already reviewed it. It did pretty well in the review, and we. Oh, nice! I found the new Super Chats interface, and we've obviously already showed that the 3300X versus the 3100. 3300X has an advantage because the CCXs are collapsed into one, and it's 4+0 config instead of 2+2, which is what you have on the 3100 we're using today. But I guess the fun of this will be once the 3100 is at or past 5 gigahertz, what happens? How does it score? And I've got some tables we can look at for the 7700K at 5.1 and at stock. So we'll do some comparisons as to how this 4-core 8-thread part compares to the 7700 4-core 8-thread part when they're both at about the same frequency of 5.1 gigahertz. Then for the super chats, I'm going to be reading them on about a probably 30 to 60 minute delay, depending on how busy it gets as we go through. So let's see, Joe's in here too, it looks like. Oh, Joe's not verified. Joe, you need to get verified, which I think means you need more subscribers, so post more videos. But Joe, aka Bearded Hardware, is in here. Roman is going to be sad to see that I'm going to use some Kingpin X paste instead of the, would the CCX difference make a difference in overclocking? Yes, we showed that in yesterday's review of the 3300X. You can watch that for the clock-to-clock differences. So, yeah, I'm going to be using the KPX paste because Roman needs to send me Cryonaut or I need to buy some more. And he keeps telling me he'll send me some at every convention once or twice a year, so then I don't buy any. So we're going to use this today. And I'm just going to do a full coverage on it. The goal is just to cover the whole thing and try and get the spread even. And that is the 3100. Okay, cool. Just making sure it's the right chip. So yeah, X570, godlike for the board. We had the best luck with this with memory overclocking back when it was new, when this X570 board was new. And we've generally liked working with the BIOS. MSI has gotten relatively clean with their BIOS implementation. They're still not always great. Like, some stuff's kind of confusing to work with, but overall this one's been one of the easier ones to work with. The X570 Master we've used in the past as well. That's a gigabyte board, and that one has also done well for us, but right now we have our non-Vaseline ones in use, and the Vaseline one I'm not sure if it boots. So for the fans, I've got some kind of EK Vardar fan right here, and that's just going to be for getting the liquid nitrogen vapor, I guess the nitrogen gas, away from the system so we don't have condensation buildup. And I'm going to cover everything in shop towel to also deal with that. Okay. It needs a little more over here, and then I'm just going to move the LN2 pot around on it once we get it on there to spread everything out. So the card is going to be the Gigabyte 2080 Ti Extreme, but I'm probably not going to do any 3D benchmarks. I don't think there's any on here, so I'll probably just be doing the just Cinebench, and we're going to use R15 because it's faster, because it's on an 8-thread chip. That's going to take plenty long to run, especially if we're running it all day. And I have more data on it, so I can compare to everything else that we've run through R15. It's an older chip, or well, it's not an older chip, but it's compared to an older chip, the 7700K. So we need something that's got some more data to it, and then also something that doesn't take forever to run on an 8-thread part. No, it's not too much thermal paste. You're supposed to put the thermal paste into the CPU socket, bro. Yes, I've seen that. I've seen that GIF. I think it was, I don't know if that was an official Gigabyte thing, or, like, I know it's got Gigabyte's brand on it, but I don't know if they made that image or not. The famous thermal paste and socket image. Let's go with the card first. Okay. So the liquid nitrogen pot I'm going to be using is actually, it's been lapped, and that was done by Joe, who was, at least a second ago, he was in chat, Bearded Hardware, and he and I, but mostly him, we lapped that to smooth it out. Joe is always big on trying to get like the smoothest surface possible for contact. So this is actually really flat now, where when you, I forget what it's called, there's an effect, but where you lift it off of another flat surface, there's like a suction to it. So super flat. That's a Der Bauer Beast pot, and we're gonna be using that today for the liquid nitrogen container. So let's get this down there. Oh, we can show this too. I have a thermocouple in there. So let me pull up the stream so I can actually see what's happening. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that thermocouple is into the LN2 pot, and it's just coated in paste. So that's going to give us our temperature reading once we actually get overclocking, because the CPU T-die reading and hardware info can only read so low, and it's not going to be able to read below like 1.7 degrees. So that's going to be our solution for that. I need rubbing alcohol, like everybody else on the planet right now. Okay. All right, cool. I think I'm gonna run the wire this way. Just the weight of the LN2 pot should be enough for decent contact with this one. We're not going to need tension really. Threadripper, it helps. Helps to have the mounting pressure. It's such a big chip. It helps, or IHS, it helps line everything up. But that should be good for us. We can readjust if necessary. Something I actually need to ask Roman for is an AM4 adapter for the top of that LN2 pod. There's our thermocouple reader. Okay. What is Roman saying something? Okay, fine. I'll get to the other super chats. Let me read Roman's first. He sent 100 euros and said, please buy some proper thermal paste. So shots fired at Kingpin, I guess. And also with 100 euros, maybe I can afford 1 tube of Cryonaut. All right, thank you, Roman. I'll use that to actually, I'll buy your own product with it, and then between the taxes and the cut that I'm giving to YouTube and to Amazon and the taxes you're paying to your government and the fees you're paying, definitely this was a worthwhile exchange for both of us. Okay, let me get to the other ones in a second. So I need to fill up this dewar. I also want to see what Roman said in response to all of that. So this is our LN2 dewar. I grab a rag. It's going to be loud for a second while it adjusts. I'll try to talk over it for a second, sorry. So it's going to do that for a couple, maybe 30 seconds, and it'll chill out. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to fill that up. That's a 30-liter dewar. It's mostly filled up already, but... Okay. Roman sent hearts and smiles. All right. Advertising budget, someone said. Yeah. Okay, so while that's filling out, let me get caught up on a couple super chats. We should be able to hit 5 gigahertz today, by the way. I'm pretty confident in it. We're doing 4.4 just with air, so a liquid cooler cooled by non-exotic cooling. And that was doing 4.4 at 1.343 volts for set voltage. We could probably bring it down, but that's what we had time for the review. And now we're going to go up to like 1.55 or so volts. So we'll have plenty more room scaling from that. And people are complaining about the noise. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so Sean, $5, said, finally, some normalcy in my life. Well, yes, we've been wanting to get back to streaming for a while now, and it's taken some time. I'm glad we have some products coming out, though, so you'll have more normalcy once the Intel 10 series stuff comes out, too. Malcolm Mason, $2.79 Canadian, thank you. Would a PS2 to USB adapter be as good as plain PS2? I mean, you're converting, so I would imagine there's some sort of loss there or latency, but I've never actually tested that and haven't really found a need to. So there should be some kind of latency. I don't know how bad it would be. Okay, that's an interesting coincidence, Andrew. Super chat from Chen Jujus, $5. Apparently you can get 4.6 gigahertz on air because of the double CCX design. Saw this from another YouTuber. This chip OCs really well. For the 3100. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We couldn't do 4.6 on air, so it's going to depend on chip quality to some extent. You have to remember that once you get down to these, 4.6 sounds really high, but I don't know, maybe. I guess it depends on the voltage you're willing to push into it and what you determine to be a safe voltage and the chip quality. Chip quality is the biggest one. Lower end CPUs like the Athlon 3000G, as fun as it is to think about putting that under LN2, it's also going to hit a really hard silicon quality limit because AMD's taking their worst stuff and putting it in those because it doesn't matter because it's a low end CPU. So yeah, maybe, but it's going to depend on the quality, of course. Nim Int 3, 200, I think, rubles, says, have you tried to immerse the entire motherboard in liquid silicone? No, I have not. I've covered it in just Vaseline, and that's about it. So when Joe visited once, he and I went to the pharmacy and bought this, and that was not awkward at all. And we've been using this for about a year now to just cover motherboards, and it sucks to deal with because it's gross and it doesn't really come off that easily. The ultrasonic cleaner we use only does so good of a job with it. So yeah, I don't know. It's probably the most, like, the easiest and most cost-effective way to do things, but there might be better ways. Kyle Medoctor said $5 broke, but still. Well, thank you. I wish YouTube still did. I don't think they do, but I wish they still did their free super chats for YouTube Premium backers. Rocky, $20. I'm going to pause on this one and get back to this, and then we'll get the rest. Rocky, $20 says, just wanted to say hello and thanks for your help a few weeks back. Here's some government $1,200 money. I mean, I'll gladly take the government's money for once. So thank you, I appreciate it. I'd have to look and see exactly what I helped you with, but I'm glad that it was of assistance to you. And we're gonna stop that right now because I think it's getting close to the top. So I started making those sounds. Okay. All right, cool. So we should be able to, I guess I'll leave it here, and we should be able to just get started with the LN2. First thing I'm gonna do is just make sure it boots, because we haven't done that yet. So yeah, this is my trick I learned from Patrick here, is to just shove a screwdriver through one of the fan screw holes and get it to stand up on its own. So I'm doing that. I'm gonna pull the gas away from the board and just shoot it over here. Some of it will spill over this side, so to deal with that, we're just gonna add a simple, that is a fast fan. Hopefully it's not too loud, I can swap it if it's annoying. We're gonna add just a shop towel there, and then I'm gonna add one over here since we're gonna be pulling the vapor right across, or the nitrogen gas rather, right across the RAM, so we don't want that to freeze up if we can avoid it. And that should give us enough of a protective coat to deal with for the screen. Okay. How's your player window, Andrew? Is it working? Nice. Oh, someone says, I love that monitor, have the same model. That Gigabyte monitor is actually pretty nice. I'll give them credit for that. I absolutely hate this keyboard though. I hooked it up last night. I've never used it before. And it's just I know keyboard enthusiasts, a lot of them like the tiny keyboards, and it's cool. It's kind of neat for travel, but I am incapable of typing on this thing because it's way too small. I'm sure Joe would complain constantly about how are you supposed to type on it with these massive hands, as he always says. So we're gonna reset BIOS. I hope Joe's still in chat. And okay, give me advanced BIOS, please. Reset BIOS and see if do I have any profiles or any settings in here? Oh, it's already reset. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do a baseline number, just Cinebench R15. We'll do a baseline, and that'll tell us what we're working up from today. Keep in mind that this is not our exact review setup, so I mean the RAM's different. I don't have XMP on right now either. So the RAM's different, the board is different, so numbers won't be comparable directly to the review numbers, but we can still get some useful numbers. No, that's actually very not full, but it does make it easier to pour. Yeah, so this dewar holds about 30 liters. One of the problems is you have to kind of equalize with the temperature inside. So once you start filling it, there's a lot of efficiency loss where you just use a ton of LN2 to try and get the temperature inside cold enough to hold the LN2 and to get enough volume to hold the LN2. Okay. So another thing you'll notice too is that there is not a whole lot of cooling going on right now except for the LN2 pot. But that's okay, we can check the temperature in a second. Okay, so let's do CPU T die, please. Where's my mouse? So CPU T die with nothing actually in the LN2 pot is currently 38.4 degrees. And then we're just gonna run Cinebench without even pouring anything in there, I think. Well, either we've lost video or we need to, no, actually it was playing cool, so. Oh, I hit the power button, I think. Yeah, that's good. Thanks, touch buttons. Worried me for a second, I was like, why is it crashing already? Okay. Is there an extra mouse pad over there that you can grab me on the B-rolls table? I'm running over this giant thermal paste blob and it's not able to track through it. And I'm hitting the power button again. Okay, while Andrew's helping with the mouse pad, let me check. No, not F. F is rumors of its demise were greatly exaggerated by me hitting the touch button under the monitor. Okay. And EVGA? Why you gotta be like that? What? We might switch mice. Okay, alright. This is a cruel joke by the EVGA mouse. Yeah, this mouse is jumping everywhere. Okay. I need a different mouse. Hey, Patrick, can you get me a non-EVGA Torx mouse? Yes. It's terrible. Okay. All right, let me get a message or something. Super chat. Got Rockies. Eskamonster, DKK20. I was first, FFS. Yeah, we got yours. Shimana says, thank you. $4.99. Thank you for the streams and vids you guys put out. Just found out I have human malware. So self-isolation sanity is cracking. Well, I hope you are one of the cases where it's just like asymptomatic. But stay healthy to the extent you can, I guess. I don't know, I have no advice. I wish I did. But on the sanity side, it sounds like, at least from that limited message I have, maybe it's not one of the worst cases. So I wish you well and that your health does better. I'll get one more in a second. Let me get this running. So we're gonna do a baseline run. That actually fixed the problem. It was the mouse. That made me nervous for a second that we had some insane weird bug where it was not working already. Okay, next one is from Renato Piccinini. $2 R. I'm not sure what that currency is. What's your expectation? 6 gigahertz? Question mark. No, I'm not expecting 6 gigahertz out of a low-end CPU. I've got hardware info running, by the way, so our score is going to be lower than kind of reality, but 60 degrees right now. Yeah, I am expecting 5 and maybe higher. 5 should for sure be doable, I think. Maybe higher would be nice. I would like to do 5.1 because that's what our 7700K can do. Okay, 989, that's about right with hardware info running. For reference, I did write down our earlier score without anything running was 1008. So that's about right for background tasks. Okay, cool. So that's our baseline with nothing going on, no memory, XMP, anything like that. It's 100% stock, just fresh boot BIOS. And we're gonna reboot now into BIOS, turn on the LN2 mode, and maybe some basic memory settings, and get it going. So we'll just bring it up to 4.4 first, since that's what we did for the review, and then go from there. And I'll mention too, if you grab something from the GN store today, we do have, well actually we've got these black and blue mouse pads in stock. Sadly, they don't come with the thermal paste stain that's on this one. You'll have to buy the thermal paste separately, maybe from Der Bauer, and add your own thermal paste stain to your mat. But that just makes it customizable. It just means that you can make whatever drawings you want on it. So you can grab those mats on the store, on store.gamersnexus.net, or you can grab the mod mats we are actually really low on stock. I think we have 30 left of the mediums. So we've got 30 mediums left that are shipping out every day at this point. They're not on back order anymore. And then we've got enough of the large left for maybe another week or so, but I'm not sure. I kind of hope it lasts a little longer, just because we just got them in. But there's the medium. This is the one we use on the set table pretty heavily when we do GPU teardowns. So it's got the video card diagram on it. And we have a double silhouette on this one, so you can place the screws on the front and the back and track it a little more easily. But you can grab that on the store. And I'll try to shout out some of the orders today when we get space in between the overclocks. Okay, let's do some basic stuff. So just settings, AMD overclocking, except, oh, actually I want to go back up. This is one of the problems that we kind of have with the AMD BIOSes right now. AMD provides its own OC menu, and then the motherboard makers do as well. So we've got like 3 different places where all the OC options are. But this is, we've got LN2 mode on here, which is under the advanced CPU configuration. We're gonna leave almost all of the rest of this alone. Let's get package power up to max. CPU temperature display we're not worried about. Let's go to AMD overclocking. One thing we're gonna have to do is bring down Infinity Fabric. So I'm gonna have to set that to 1467. And that's because once you start getting cold, like minus 90, minus 100, it'll just black screen. And if you bring down Infinity Fabric to a lower clock, it'll hold. So it's old information now. You've probably heard it before if you watch some of these, but that's why we bring that down, even though it would be better performance to have it higher. We can't get the temperature down low enough to get higher clocks if it's a higher Infinity Fabric. So it's kind of a tricky situation, especially if you're doing 3D, but we are just doing rendering today. Okay, I'm gonna try and use Ryzen Master for this if we can. It'll be a little faster. So we're gonna leave most of this stuff alone. And just turn on the higher, current protection limits and stuff like that. Okay. I think we can just go with this and hopefully do the rest in Ryzen Master. Disable C states for whatever that's worth. Spread spectrum, cool and quiet. The rest of this doesn't really matter. Okay. So F10. I'm gonna pour some LN2 in there just to keep it at least within reason. Then we're gonna bring the temperature down maybe to like minus 10 or something like that, just to test out the mount, make sure it's good. Alt. Oh no, there's no F1. F1, okay. Actually want to turn on XMP as well, but I don't know that this profile is going to run, so we're going to... Oh, that's F clock. See, this is what I was talking about. There's like 3 places for F clocks. So we're just going to set it 1467 in both. And then let's just tell it to do 3200 to make sure there's no memory issue. All right, there's first pour. Look at that fan. That's like 2,500 RPM. Is that noise tolerable, or do I need to get a quieter fan? It won't work as well, though. That's the problem. CMOS was not cleared. Why? I think CMOS is getting cleared. Okay. Let's just set a profile. Set name, stream, save. Need to get RTX voice. I would, except I don't trust it because it's beta. But I mean, yeah, I agree it would actually be pretty useful in these scenarios. One of the things that I am worried about with using RTX voice in the future would be how it impacts some of the noises you might want in there, like the pouring noise. Like you would lose some of that that noise Allen 2 makes, so I don't know if I would use it or not. It's at 10 degrees right now, so we're just gonna get it down to, I need to check hardware info and see what the delta is. So we're gonna try and check how quality the mount is between the pot temperature and the CPU T-die temperature. I'm sure people will comment on the power supply fan too at some point. It's not spinning because it's not under heavy enough load, which is expected behavior for that power supply. 1600 watt power supply. I would be surprised if this thing goes over like 400, 500 watts today. Okay, T-die is listed at, it's dropping. It's listed at 8.5 degrees and our temperature probe is at 1 degree. That's actually a really good delta. They're pretty close to each other, so I'm happy with that mount. We're gonna pour some more in, just start bringing the temperature down and see if it's stable. If it's not, I might play around with some of the other settings in BIOS, but it should be fine, at least down to -80. Sounds of overclocking. Someone says, no, please, Allen 2 noise is nice. I like it too. So yeah, I think RTX voice would probably kill that sound. The best solution would be a quieter fan, but then we're gonna get condensation faster and we'll have to break it down and end the stream faster, so I'll try and compromise with this one. Okay, -14, let's get rid of this and open up Ryzen Master if it'll cooperate today. Sometimes this thing takes forever to launch. The PSU's name is Steve, guys. Someone says. All right, fine. Let me see if the fan is not spinning. I know it's not spinning. Is there a, I need like, let me grab a knock to a knock case testing 140 mil. You have one over there?
There's your own knock case.
Okay, if you can grab one that's like maybe 1400 RPM or something, a little quieter. If you can zoom up on the power supply. Yeah, I'm curious in the answer to the question. Someone says, Akalesh, yo chat, how much do you think Steve can get out of that 3100? I am curious to see what chat thinks as well. Okay, so let's reset everything here. We're just gonna set it to 4.4, which is what our review did. I've got the numbers written down from earlier too, so we'll do 1.55 volts, I guess, to make it easy. Actually, you know what? Let's just do like 1.4 since it's just the review numbers. So 1.4 is still plenty high. We should be able to close that and actually get the clocks. We'll know by validating with the score, and we can see if this thing's at least working normally. Thank you. Wow, that looks worse than normally. Noctua is made, I don't know that this, when people ask Noctua for a different color fan, I'm not sure that this is what they had in mind. Is this a Redux? Yeah. 1200 RPM Redux. So let's get this. Wow, that is loud. Get that out of there. Let's see if this one's quieter and still effective. One thing I learned from a previous stream, it didn't kill the fan, but I learned not to angle it in a way where the LN2 comes in from this side. So I don't know how we had it set up exactly. Oh, it was like, no, yeah, that was, yeah. Once we were using it like this, and I think I had it positioned here or here, and some of the LN2 vapor that was not going through the fan was coming around it, and it would get into the hub, and then the fan froze, like literally just froze up. But it did not die, so that was good. Okay. Hopefully that is still effective. It is a lot quieter, which makes me suspicious. Let's test it. Wow, that is at least pushing it away. Okay, cool. It's doing a little bit. Good enough. It's going the other direction, but that's fine. Okay, so 1140. That was with 4.4 gigahertz. So that's about what I would expect. 1140. Let me get you some numbers from the 7700K for reference. So, Steve, the PSU is my favorite Gamers Nexus character. He really is the driving force of this project. Is this on an X570 board? Yes, that means it supports Zen 3. Okay, so 7700K at 5.1 for reference did like 1110 points in this. Oh, really? That looks low. Am I looking at the right sheet? Stock, oh, here. Stock did 980, and we did about that already. Yeah, so 1110 is, in fact, what we have logged here for the 5.1, so that was easy. I kind of like that super chat idea. I'll get to it in a second. Let's get Ryzen Master open, if it'll cooperate. Sometimes, again, very slow, but seems to be working today. And we're going to just do a, just bring it up to like, oh, that's 4425, okay. So let's do like 46 is what someone said was being achieved elsewhere. And I'm going to, let's just, I think we're going to crash here, but just for sake of trying it, I'm going to set 1.4 volts. See if it accepts at that time. And 4600 on all cores. And then we're just, I mean, we are definitely not under normal cooling conditions because it's minus 41 degrees right now. But let's just go ahead and run it and see if it crashes instantly or not. If it runs at 1.4 with this LLC is pretty aggressive. It's not it's a flatline LLC. So definitely not stock. And at this temperature, it's got an advantage versus if we ran it under a normal cooler, but still be interesting to see what comes out. So let's see if that works. Okay, let me get some super chats. Also, we had a couple store orders come through. Thank you very much. That's the best way to support us. Super chat's another great way. We're gonna get all the super chats today. It just give me 30 to 60 minutes on them. It did work. And then we'll get through them all. Okay, so store order came through from Robert in Massachusetts, who ordered a GN black and blue mouse pad, which is the one I'm using right there, actually. Again, without the thermal paste included, sadly. Brandon from Washington also purchased one of those mouse pads. Thank you. Then we had a medium mod mat bought by Kay in Nevada. Thank you. That brings us down to 29 of those left. Jacob in California picked up a large mod mat. Thank you for that. Huge support to buy those, especially since I ate a massive cost on the shipping for these. It was insane. And then Chris in Virginia picked up one as well. Thank you. Okay. Let's get another one of these in, then I'll do super chats on the next pause while it's running. I want to bring this down a little lower. So that was at, I might actually want to try and run this at a different frequency under our liquid cooler later, but that was at 4.6, and then we were at minus, I'm just writing down the notes for later, minus 42, 4.6, 1.4, and score was 1187. Okay. So let's bring up Ryzen Master again today. I'm really happy with how this is running right now. Yesterday when I was doing some initial testing, it was taking like 3 minutes to open. Let's try and stick to this lower voltage and see when it dies. So that's 4.7 at 1.4. I will definitely be kind of surprised if it lives, but we'll give it a shot. Let's see. Next one is from Jackie Mansfield. $2, thank you. This is my first live stream I've caught in time. Nice. I thought it froze. Yeah, we didn't even announce it, just kind of threw it together. I knew I wanted to do one, but it's a lot less stress to just kind of start when we're ready to start instead of setting a time. So I was glad we were able to pull this one together for today. I'm kind of shocked that ran. Let me open up hardware info and see what it thinks the voltage is. You can get a multimeter out, but I don't really want to try and get in there. Let's see, SVI 12 right there. Let's put it under load. So 1244, I think is what that score was. Oh wow, CCD is actually reading to -6. That's kind of cool. I don't know if that's accurate, but I kind of doubt it is, but I don't have any way to validate it. Oh, SoC voltage. I'm looking at the wrong one. CPU core voltage. 1.394. Okay. Yeah, that's what it should be. Wow. All right. Well, that's running very high. It's only R15. It's probably not stable for other stuff. It's pretty cold, not extremely cold, but minus 41 degrees right now on the pot temperature is the one I go off of. 4.7, 1.4, and we're on mode 3. I'll write that down too, mode 3. And then it was 1179 that time, so that was actually, that's a low score. That shouldn't be that low. It was like 12 something before. Oh, I have hardware info open, that's why. That shows you the impact of background software. Cool. Way better than I expected. This 3100 is kind of a beast, actually. Awesome Cloud, 40, I think that's the currency of India. 40 of that, I'm sorry, I don't know the names. Awesome Cloud says, how does it compare to a 9400F? You know, that is one of the few CPUs we actually don't have. We bought the 9100F recently for that low-end CPUs roundup, but I actually don't have the 9400F because, I'm gonna try 1.4 again, because, I mean, I don't know, we know how we feel about the 9600K, and that's better than the 9400F, so it just wasn't really worth it. It wasn't worth the time to run another test. Each of those CPUs takes something like, I don't know, some of them take like 12 hours to run through the whole suite, so you start asking for a lot of time to add stuff. So unfortunately, we did not run that one. I'm gonna bring it down a little lower this time. We're at minus 50 right now, no problems at the moment. So bring it down to maybe minus 70 or 80 and see if it stays alive. Like I said, they'll kind of bug out and just black screen if it gets too cold for certain Infinity Fabric settings, but I think we should be good there. Adam Schumann Sr., good to see you back, says, where are the tater tots? Well, unfortunately, they're under quarantine, I think, but maybe once Joe comes back, if things are opened up, he and I can go get some. I do owe him some. Junior Nunez, $5. Is GN going to make videos comparing a budget upcoming B550 board plus budget 4000 Ryzen versus a more expensive and discounted 3000 and owned B450 board? I think we should kind of be able to come to the conclusion based on the numbers we get from the CPU review, and then it's just a value analysis at that point. So yeah, that should be no problem. I'll probably talk about that in the review once Ryzen 4000 desktop comes out. Did I run it yet? No. Okay, we're at minus 74. So yeah, that's a good point. Like I said, we should be able to figure it out based on the numbers in the review when it eventually ships, whenever that may be, and then we can talk about if it's which is kind of the better pathway since there's limited upgrade paths on some of the boards. Is it still alive? Wow. I think it's at 4.8 and 1.4 right now, which is stupid, but it is, I mean, it is really cold. When we did our review, it would not hold 4.5 or above at 1.4. And that was on a 280 millimeter liquid cooler. So it's the cold that's doing all the work here. I think I knocked something over, but I'm not sure. Oh yeah. Wow, man, that's not expected. I was thinking we were just gonna go for a high clock and stop there, but we're actually going for as low a voltage as possible and as high a clock as possible, which is in some ways much more interesting. So minus 70, I'll write that down, minus 70, that was at 4.8. Kind of want to warm it up and see what it'll hold. 1.4, 1233 looks kind of low to me again, so let's run that one more time. I think it's not an efficient overclock. This is something Joe taught me to do, Stepanzi, so he should be in chat probably still, Bearded Hardware. So Joe taught me about transferring from the larger container to the smaller for a few reasons. It helps with accuracy of the pour, because it's a smaller mouth, so it's a little easier to make sure you don't pour it all over the motherboard. And then also it helps with ice and water control. So one of the problems we run into, Joe and I have run into in the past, is as you get ice buildup around the lip of the, what are these called? Thermos. If it kind of sits for a while, you don't refill it, some of that will turn into water, obviously, warms up, turns into water, goes into the thermos, and now you're pouring water into your LN2 pot with the liquid nitrogen. And now you have a water barrier at the bottom of the pot that's not going to evaporate because it's cold. And so it just forms a barrier between your actual cooling unit and the copper. So doing this helps control the ice. 1230, okay, so I guess that is just going to be the score that it is. That is way beyond the 7700K OC though. Let's bring it up. I was thinking 1.55 volts by now. Actually, let's do an R20 run too. I saw a few people asking for that. So, is it still overclocked properly? 4800, 1.4. Let's see if it survives R20 because that's going to be a longer test. That in some ways should be more likely to make it die, and I'm kind of surprised it's not died already. So let's just run that. We're at minus 60. I'm going to bring that down to minus 70 or so. And that should get us down to that point. Let me check on the normal chat actually for a minute. What's chat saying? Chat says RIP 7700K. Is it safe to breathe that thing for so long? So this is nitrogen. Nitrogen is in most of the air that you breathe. The difference is with liquid nitrogen and getting the off-gassing like this, you are potentially displacing oxygen in the air. So the rule is if you work with liquid nitrogen, work in a large open space if possible, have ventilation, don't work in like a small closet or something like that without any fan or anything. So in this instance, we're in a large open room. It's part of the office, and we can turn the AC on or off or whatever to control ventilation. So from where I am, it is safe for me to do this. But, you know, I don't know. If you do anything with LN2 at home, do a lot of research first just to make sure you understand the safety side of it, because there is a little bit to know. But hopefully that answers your question. So which RIP series is this? RIP Intel? That's a good one. It's from Leafy is back, who comments a lot. I guess that's what it is. I guess that's what it would be with the 7700K being our target that we've already passed in like the first, I don't know, 6 minutes of actual overclocking. I'm, again, actually surprised this is running. So when I did pre-testing, I pre-tested high voltage, high clocks. I didn't test at all maintaining a lower voltage on high clocks. So this scoring scale is different, by the way. That's not comparable, but I'll write it down. So that was 4.8. We're going to get an R20 score of about 2892. I'm actually not too familiar with the R20 scoring. So if someone can find it for me, I'll keep an eye on chat. I think chat wants you to play with the torch. I'll keep an eye on chat. If you can go find someone a 7700K stock run in R20, that would be great. I'm curious what the numbers are. I don't have it in front of me. Yeah, let me know. I'll try and watch chat. Just like if a couple of you see someone post the score for a 7700K, just repost it so I can see it when it scrolls past. Someone said that people are disappointed I'm not playing with the torch, and that's actually a good point. So referring to the question about safety and breathing in too much nitrogen, I think it's called narcosis if you breathe in too much. But one of the other things that Joe likes to show on camera is if you take a torch and you can light it, then there's oxygen still because it's burning. So that's another test you could do, but I mean, just make sure there's ventilation in a large space. Okay, what's chat say? Anything? 4800i9, okay. 2430, thank you. 2430, someone says, for 7700K stock. 2450, all right. So we've got a couple numbers, 2430, 2450, thank you. So it looks like about mid 2400s for R20 7700K. I'm assuming that's stock. And we're doing 2892 on a 3100 at 4.8 gigahertz, which is a little bit higher, I guess, than stock, but all core, assuming MCU was off. So that's a very efficient score, actually, for 3100 especially. Stock. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Joe, he turned off the torch, someone says. Yes, I actually turned off the torch. let's bring it up a little higher. When I was doing overclocking with High Cookie, which we'll publish soon, that was in Taiwan when we were at Gigabytes HQ in March. It was funny, the same thing happened with him as what happens with Joe, and Joe's here to help me with overclocking, where Joe picks up the torch and it doesn't light because I lock it for safety, and High Cookie went and picked up the torch and tried to light it, and he thought it was out of gas. And he didn't know that there was a lock on it because Joe showed him the torch originally and he had never used a lock. So, too much safety. It's a bad thing, apparently. Okay, it is not, that was a serious lag. I don't know if that's just the software being buggy or if we're on the edge of stability here, but I tried to click on it a few times and it lagged like crazy. So we're gonna see if it crashes. It definitely didn't want to close. That's not a good sign. What's our temperature? We're at minus 70. I'm bringing down to minus 90 now, which is, I guess, not perfect for sense of scale. It doesn't really tell us as much in an objective sense about how it's scaling, but I kind of just want to see how high it goes on this voltage regardless of the temperature. Okay, let's just run this one again. We're at minus 91. Any questions about working with this stuff, or does everyone in our chat pretty much know by now? Because I know a lot of you have seen this stuff before, so you probably already know. Where are people actually buying for a 7700K for that money? I guess you're referencing someone else's comment. Yeah, so I saw Linus's title. I actually don't completely disagree with him, where he said even Intel used CPUs are not a good deal now. The only thing I would maybe clarify with that title is I think it doesn't fully convey, am I being diplomatic enough? I think it doesn't fully convey the fact that Intel used CPUs were almost never good value to begin with. Because older Xeons, sure, there's so many of them on the market. They're low prices. I wouldn't necessarily say they're good prices, but they're pretty low, and sometimes you do actually get a good deal out of it. But used K-SKUs parts are such a ripoff almost universally. Like 4790K is for 200 bucks, and 7700K is probably like, I think I saw one for 300 the other day when I looked. So I don't know why used CPUs demand that kind of price, but it's just always been the case for that old Intel stuff. And I think maybe it has to do with people trying to keep systems alive. They're willing to pay more, but I'm not really sure. Might have to do with not wanting to replace your motherboard, and so you're trying to just replace one part, or upgrade intra-socket from a 4690 to a 4790K, which is what Patrick did, or something similar to that. So yeah, that's, I don't know that they were ever a good deal, I guess is the point. What's chat saying? Do you reduce the room's humidity to reduce condensation? Actually, no, but we do have it is currently 39% humidity in here right now from our sensor. So we could, but you do have a good point about condensation. It's definitely a huge problem, but we don't reduce the temperature. It wouldn't really do enough. 2949 points. So it is actually scaling. Was that at 4.9? I think that was at 4.9. 2949. I should run R15 so we get both of our numbers. 1.40, 4 point something. Someone says, this is cool. Oh, so cool. I missed the S. Yes, it is minus 196 or 198, I think, degrees. How much I'm looking up for the LN2 questions. Does LN2 have a smell? I actually used to think that it did, because whenever we went to Kingpin's overclocking lab, we have a video tour of it. It's really cool. You should definitely check it out, because he's got, that was when Tin worked there too. They had collectively the coolest lab that we've been in for anything related to computer hardware, other than the manufacturing facilities, which was a different thing. But I used to think that liquid nitrogen had a smell, because whenever we went in there, it did have a specific smell, but I couldn't place it. And it wasn't just Kingpin. It was actually the smell of the torch. So burning whatever gas he may have been using for his torch, that was the smell I was associating it with. This is MAP gas, but he probably uses the same. So that's actually what it was. But no, it doesn't. It's just, it smells the same as air. I guess I don't know if you can maybe say it smells cold, I guess, when it's like right near your face. So that was 49. That's really good. I'm gonna get a couple of the other, if you have other questions about working with this, let me know. I'll check. I saw there were a couple more higher up. I've already scrolled up for. It is behaving a little bit laggy on the input, so this is not like what I would call stable. You definitely can't run this at 4.9 all-core, 1.4 volts normally. Like there's no way this works on a 280 CLC because the temperature is so low here. And it is not very happy with trying to launch applications right now, so it looks like it's about to crash, I think. Let me check the other ones. How fast does it dissipate? Well, I guess it depends on how much temperature you're dealing with, like how much heat you're dealing with. So the power load of the CPU is going to affect how quickly it soaks. And there's a couple things you can do, like you can glaze the inside of the LN2 pot where you'll like bring it down and then eventually you'll torch it and heat it up. So, you know, I get the cable out of the way, but it looked kind of like, you just go like that for a little bit. And you can glaze it in a way that, I don't know exactly the science behind it. I need to read on it, but the effect is practically is that once you pour more LN2 in there, you'll hear like that. Noise where you hear it evaporating right away. I guess it's because you've brought up the temperature of the walls or maybe you've increased the surface area with the crystallizing of what's in there. I'm not sure the science of it. I need to ask someone, but the effect is that it dissipates faster, it evaporates faster and brings on temperature faster. So how fast does it dissipate depends on the temperature, but when we were doing Threadripper at the really high frequencies and voltages we did, we were pulling like over 1,000 watts. And you pour it in and it's gone. Like it evaporates instantly once it's running a test. So this does not look stable because it was freaking out when I was trying to open it, but it did launch, so we're gonna run it. I would not call this a stable overclock. We'll see if it runs though. What's the next one? Where do you get liquid nitrogen? So you can buy it from welding suppliers. That one comes from Airgas. They're a national chain that's pretty big. But welding suppliers are where you could look it up to try and find. Sometimes they'll sell it to you just into the dewar. Sometimes they sell you one of those. That big 180 liter tank back there, that's about, it's a little under $200. It's about $1 per liter. $12.59. Okay, is that higher than last time? Last time we did $12.33 at 4.8. So that is actually improved. So it's not a fake overclock. Sometimes you get those where the numbers look higher, but it's not actually working. That was at minus 81. It's not even that cold. Cool, this is super good. I'm gonna check the super chats next. I wanted to check in on the normal chat for a little bit. So thank you for your patience. It's a lot to look at, obviously, but trying to get to everyone. No, I don't want to say, actually, let's leave that open. Let's do, no, why isn't there an option to not quit? Yeah, okay, let's get that back open. Let's see if I can do 5 at 1.4. That would be stupid. Will the CPU be functional after this? It should be. We'll see, but I haven't killed one yet. You're more likely to kill motherboards, I think, in my experience working with Joe especially, but more likely to kill boards. Or if you're Joe and you like take the CRC spray and you're holding the CPU in your hand and you just go like really hard, you might catapult it onto the concrete and break a bunch of pins. I'm not saying that happened, but if you're Joe, it might happen. But from this, we haven't killed the CPU yet. I think we did a video with High Cookie. He's a pro overclocker, works for Gigabyte, in their lab last year, and he showed us a 3175X that he had killed. And the way he killed it was, actually, if you look on the bottom of the CPU in that video, you'll see it. It's got burned out pins on it. So he just took it too high for the power, for the voltage. It was an engineering chip. He didn't have any protections in place on the board or the BIOS or anything. And so it eventually burned out. So that can happen, but I think we'll be okay. How long can you do this before you freeze the motherboard's a really good question too. These are good questions. I'm just looking at the chat. Someone said, I don't think any liquid nitrogen OC is very stable. How long can you do this before you freeze the motherboard? Well, even with all the Vaseline and the paper towels and everything, one of the reasons I pour every now and then, even when I'm not running a test, is to try and keep it cold. Because, yeah, okay, so we're finally, I think, unless I hit the button with my hand again. Once it starts getting warm, you have water runoff, and the water won't just kill it right away normally. Okay, all right. So I hit it with my hand again. The water won't kill it right away. Typically, I guess it's possible. You get water buildup in the socket sometimes with like LGA stuff like Intel or Threadripper. But yeah, I would say maybe like 4 hours at this humidity. We've done pretty well. We typically have to break it down around 3 or 4 hours. So I just applied, let's do R20 this time. I just applied 5.0. So we're actually at 5 now, which is what's in the title, I think. And this is at 1.4. There's absolutely no reason this should pass. It shouldn't be passing already, but it has been. So it's definitely freaking out. Like this system, the OS isn't happy. If you see like, I click on stuff and then the mouse will kind of freeze every now and then. So it's definitely not happy with this voltage. Okay, so those are all really good questions about how this is working. Is it expensive? Well, the liquid nitrogen is not that expensive. It's not like it's cheap, but the expensive stuff, relatively speaking, is like the LN2 pots. They're not cheap. I think the cheapest ones are 200 something. I think these are like 5, and then the Dewars aren't cheap. This is $600 right here. So that's what, if you wonder what all the super chats go to, it's like the Dewar $600, the LN2 is $180 every tank of that we get, and the deliveries. The cheapest thing in the whole setup is this, and even this is like $40. So not cheap. Not as bad as liquid helium, but not cheap. So we'll see if it survives, 5.0, 1.4. And if it survives, we'll try a single thread run. If it doesn't, then we'll increase the voltage. So do you want to try and get like a shot into the LN2 pot? Maybe answer some of the questions about how quickly it evaporates. So just assuming this thing survives and keeps running, we can show you this. Button tape to protect your buttons from accidental presses. It's actually a good idea. So do you need a light over it, or is it okay? Okay without the light, or you want a light? Okay. All right, so I'm going to do a pour in here. Let me get OBS open so I know what's happening. And that's the inside of the LN2 pot. You can see, sorry, Andrew, I'm going to make you hold this for a minute, but there's a bunch of holes in there to increase the surface area. It helps the LN2 spread. We're going to do a pour while it's running Cinebench R20. Give it a second for the smoke to go away, and you'll see that there's not really any liquid in there. It just pretty instantly evaporates. Let's do one more. I'll pour more in this time. It's gone pretty fast. We're at minus 101 right now. But that's just because the amount of power it's drawing. I actually don't know what it's pulling right now. But power it's pulling while it's running a test. If we end up getting a crash at some point, I'll hook up something to read the power, and then we can figure out what kind of power consumption we're looking at. I think it's going to pass. We need to increase the voltage and run this again to see if the score is valid, because I'm actually not sure how valid that score is. But let's see, minus 100 or so. What's chat saying? Anything? Steve needs RGB paper towels. Is it custom-made block over the CPU? Sort of. They definitely don't make a lot of those LN2 pots. That one's made by Roman Terbauer. And that's a really good LN2 pot. So that's probably why he's yelling at me to buy his thermal paste. But that's, yeah, no, I forget what the exact number was. We talked about it in our Bits Power R&D or manufacturing tour, talked about how long it takes to make one of them. And I want to say they spent like, I don't remember, it was like 2 hours for part of it, and the whole thing was 8 or something like that, but it took basically a day to do. Was that an easy 5 gigahertz? I would say that was a very easy 5 gigahertz, but we need to see if it's a valid 5 gigahertz. So let me finish writing this down. 1.4 still, 5.0, that was stupid. And then let's run R15, and then what we'll do is increase the voltage and run it again and see if the score's higher. Because if it's higher, that might indicate that it's not really working properly. I don't know that I've seen that with Cinebench. I've definitely seen that with TimeSpy, where you think you have a good overclock, on GPUs especially, and actually it's running worse than stock. It happens a lot when you're doing memory overclocking, because it's just throwing memory errors the whole time. You can see it's really not happy about opening stuff though. So LN2 pod is probably worth more than, yeah, the LN2 pod is definitely worth more than the CPU. You could buy like 5 of those CPUs with that money. Joe, Bearded Hardware, says, how long does it take to ship an LN2 pot from Germany? Well, good question, Joe. If your LN2 pot is coming from Der Bauer, it takes anywhere between 3 weeks and 18 months. Somewhere in that range is typically how long it takes to ship from Germany. I'm sure, I'm sure one day Roman will learn how to use a box. But for now, that's about the shipping duration. It's a good thing he's got a Case King and his other business associates working with them to handle that stuff. Okay, it's running. What are the differences between liquid nitrogen and liquid helium? Is one better than the other, or does the liquid helium just cost more? It definitely costs more. I don't remember the exact pricing. We wrote an article ages ago about it. Let me see if I can find it. Gamers Nexus, liquid helium, dollars. Oh, there you go. 2017, I wrote an article about this. Gigabyte burns $20,000 of liquid helium to hit 7.5 gigahertz on the 7740X. Do they have a time? Let's Control F, hours, day. I'm thinking they did it in one. Oh, here you go. Oh, this is from Der Bauer, actually. So this was 2017, and I wrote, to give some perspective, when we spoke with Der Bauer at the G-Skill booth, we learned that liquid helium cost him about $4.40 per second in his region. And I wrote further, with the use of liquid helium, the team of overclockers were able to drop temperatures to minus 250 degrees Celsius. And I said, as opposed to LN2, liquid helium has a boiling point of around minus 269 degrees Celsius, so it can take the temperatures lower than LN2. I think probably the bigger thing is that it soaks faster, like you get cold really fast. But from what Joe and Roman have told me, working with liquid helium is a nightmare and not really that much better. I guess there's probably scenarios where it's better, but I think there's a point of diminishing returns, and from what I understand, it takes a team of like 3 people to handle liquid helium. The cost is insane. The management's not as easy as this. So yeah, I think that should mostly cover the differences. Benefits, marketing, and then also I guess it gets cold faster and it can go lower. But you start hitting like cold bugs and stuff at some point. So I don't know why this is still running. Let's bring the voltage up and see if the scores change, because one thing I don't want to do is run all these thinking that it's a good overclock, and actually the scores are like 1,000 points lower than they should be or something. I think they're accurate based on my numbers I got previously. They look pretty accurate, actually, for R15 at least, but we're just going to double check. Super chats. So we had one from Rocky, $10 for shop towels. Thank you. We're actually getting kind of low, and you don't really, as a business, plan to hoard shop towels and rubbing alcohol, because I can drive to like any store anywhere in the area and get it at a moment's notice. But now, there's not really any, so I don't know. If shop towels are still out of stock, then I guess we'll have to just use normal paper towels, but those will soak and become a problem, so. But I do appreciate the $10 towards it. I forget what we spend, like $30 a year or something on shop towels. Not too bad. Where is it? It scrolled me down. Control F, shop towels. Eskamonster, 20 DKK. Why are famous YouTubers not donating? I'm assuming they're referring to Roman, who ended up donating after that. So you guilted them into it. Good job. Okay, this is launching very slowly now, if you didn't notice. Let's just bring this up to like 1.5 instead of 1.4 and see what it does, how it behaves. So far, not great, but it was already not great. So much quieter without that EK fan. We're at minus 74, so I'm gonna take it to minus 90. That's what we don't want right there, is all the snow that just exploded off the top. That's why the whole board's coated in Vaseline, because I just had a bunch of snow land over here, but I coated all of it, so it should prevent any shorts once it turns into water. Next one, let's see, is from Sing Servant Friend SSF, $5. A little something for GN. You guys have helped me build a badass machine. Nice. I mean, that's definitely the goal, so I'm glad it helps. Bearded Hardware, $2. What's up, slackers? Literally the only word in his vocabulary. What's up, Joe? Let me catch up on these a little bit. We're about an hour behind on the super chats, so let me get up to maybe 30 minutes behind, and then we'll look at some of the others. Ask him, or oh, here's one. That was Roman's message. And then Bob Flanders, 777. Yo, Dr. Steve, I counter your 666 with ... Always enjoy your content. Upgraded from 4790K to 3900X. That's a big jump. Patrick, are you are on a 4790K at home? I think that's what he's on. Yeah, you're on 4790K still?
Yeah, but delidded.
Oh, delidded. What'd you upgrade from? 4690K? Do you think it was, what'd you pay, $200?
I paid $150 for the 4790K.
Is that after accounting for selling your 46?
No.
Oh.
Richie from the Overclocking listing.
Oh, okay. That's actually really not bad. 150?
Yeah.
And then you sold one?
Yeah.
So that's actually not a bad upgrade path. Okay. There goes the torch. This is why we lock it. I think. Yep. Wow. Okay. 1286 at 5.0. It was 1278 before at 1.4, so that is actually stable. That difference is not meaningful. Wow. That's stupid good. So let's try 1.4 at 5.1. Dear Barrow, read yours. Bearded Hardware, Roman, where's my L2 pots? Slacker KP FTW. Ask a Monster, DKK20, donate Plox. Thank you. Mark Davies, $10. Just wanted to show my support. Much appreciated. Seriously, the super chats and the store are what make these streams possible, because the ad revenue doesn't work the same way. So thank you for funding it. And thank you to the, let's see, we've gotten 14 orders recently on the store, on store.camerasnexus.net, so thank you for that support. Mark Davies says, your reviews have built my system and saved me from several bad purchases. Keep up what you do. You're the best in the business, thank you. Good luck today. I'd say the luck is very good today, so I guess your $10 message has influenced the results, because it's gonna like black screen right now. Because 5.0 at 1.4 is stupid efficient, but yeah, really glad to have saved you from bad purchases. I think, you know, other than the economic, like personal wasting money downside of buying stuff that sucks, I also just like to see the industry not continue making stuff that sucks. So happy to help with that. So we're gonna actually bring it back down. I think I can push the core higher here, but we're gonna bring it down to 1.4 first, because it's still been working at this, which is actually insane. And we'll go to 5.1 if Ryzen Master wakes up. There it goes. So let's do 5.1. This is, I really wasn't expecting it to go this well. If it stopped working now, I would still be pretty happy with the result. And it probably will stop working, so we're gonna need to increase the voltage at some point. Minus 90. Otherwise, we got like the magical chip. Ryan, $2. Zen 2 Plus, pointless speculation or viable rumor? I don't know. I would imagine that AMD has a 3400 or 3200 equivalent that will come out on the 500 series socket with not Zen Plus architecture. I don't know if that would be called Zen 2 Plus or it would just be Zen 2. But oh, it finally died. Okay, cool. So that was really damn good run for this thing. It didn't crash for like, how long is that? An hour? That's crazy. Nice. Okay, so it lived on 1.4 all the way up until 5.1 gigahertz. What was the, oh yeah, pointless speculation or viable rumor. Yeah, I think that answers it. I think there will be at least an APU on 500 series. I just don't know. I don't think it's going to be a Zen 3 APU either because they haven't done that. So I don't think it's completely pointless speculation. How many IPC does it take for Der Bauer to calculate shipping for LN2 to Bearded Hardware, asks Ross Q. I don't know, is Der Bauer still here? We need to ask him. So what's chat saying? When will you test the Fantex P600S? Isn't that the old one? I don't know. We don't really go back for hardware once it's too old because we can't get a return on it. Is it P500A or whatever it was from CES? I do want to test that one. N Factor in chat says, I got my stimulus check. I'm ready for next week to hear about, oh yeah, that is next week, to hear about the NVIDIA 3080 Ti. We don't know. I don't think that's what they would show off. That's not normally what they show off. But there's going to be an NVIDIA announcement next week for sure. Definitely got to contribute to Jensen's leather jacket fund. I'm sure he's... Actually, I don't know. Does he still need to buy them if he's not hosting events in person right now? Do you think he's going to buy a new leather jacket for his YouTube seminar he's doing? Yeah, that's for GTC, so normally that's like supercomputing, data center type of card, but it will definitely be the predecessor to gaming, and who knows, sometimes they have gaming stuff there. Who is it? Is it Joe? Greetings from Estonia. Greetings. Let me check on this. Okay, I think we're good. So is it going to boot? It did not like that crash. I might pull a stick of memory and see if we can... Actually, I can just reset the BIOS. Oh, I think it's too cold. There's boot issues if it's too cold, sometimes on these Ryzen platforms. So let's try this first. Now, if that doesn't work, I'll pull BIOS. It's going to be loud for a second. Let me pull up like a super chat or something I can read while this is going. Right here. Okay. All right. So Rocky sent $50 and said, buy some LN2 and can we see Snowflake? Snowflake's not here. It's not safe. She wants to jump on like every table when anything's going on. So it is not a safe environment for a cat. If, that wasn't obvious enough. Sid Lives 199 says tater tots. I guess that's still going. Oh yeah, there you go. There's our Snowflake stand-in for when she can't make it to the set. That's from a Patreon group, early Patreon group, including ZDG and Zeta, a couple others, Jedi, I think. Bramict Ypsilon 50 Norwegian, is it crowns or kroner? Able to boot 3600 at 4.7 gigahertz at 1.5 volts. Should I keep upping the voltage, assuming sufficient cooling? 4.7 is really good. I'm going to go with no, because I don't really know the long-term impact of those higher voltages on, I need to turn this thing off, on AMD Ryzen CPUs, but it's tough because all the stuff we see out there is either conjecture or it's anecdotal, where people talk about degradation over time because they set it at 1.4 or something. But you can't really just take that number and trust it as like this is when it degrades, because we don't know what else happened or if they even did stuff correctly or if BIOS got reset, maybe the memory timings were bad and it retrained, whatever. But at the same time, I can't really make a firm recommendation on what voltage to run for daily, because I have to take those into account, and I don't know if it's really safe for 24/7. So I can't make a recommendation on that. 1.5 is pretty high. 4.7 is really good clock, though. I do know High Cookie said he's comfortable with 1.5 for daily, but he's also speaking as a pro overclocker who has plenty of access to stuff. So, okay, well, it booted back up. Let's get this open and see if we can do 5.1. I guess it was cold, by the way. That was the problem, is it was too cold. Try 5.1 at a higher voltage, 1.5 this time. Need to cool it down first. So that'll take a minute to cool down. Next one, a person, $5. Push 2 volts, kill the CPU. No. What does Sound 2 taste like? Also no. Bearded Hardware, $1.99. Awkward walking in CVS with Steve, and I need Vaseline. Yeah, that was what we bought. That was definitely a completely normal thing to do. Let's do 1.5. That's 1.55. 1.5. Apply. Okay. 5.1. Let's just see if it dies on R15. We're at minus 51, so I need to bring it down more. It's got that really nice crackle right now, though, so it's soaking fast. Bearded Hardware also, $1.99. Thoughts going through cashier's mind, question mark. Bearded Hardware, $1.99. My keyboard is better. I feel like it's like a haiku. It's like a Joe haiku. Jesus Mayan, I'm going to go with. Sorry. $2. Getting the static mat. Oh, the anti-static mat. 4 months of waiting. Yeah, I wish we could have gotten them faster, too. I'm glad you're going to be able to get it, though, because they're in stock and shipping. But, man, the shipping delays relating to human malware were obviously profound. We did finally get stuff in. I paid an absurd amount to get it in quickly. Because otherwise, you're looking at 60 days on a boat. Okay, let's run that. Let me grab some water. What?
He took the last
Oh,
one.
the last drink? Okay, all right. It's like, couldn't talk, my voice was dying. Jonathan Davis, $5. You should ask to borrow Linus's Blowimatron. I saw that thing when we visited, and it's also insane. Also, his chiller is like extremely dangerous and janky, but fun to work with. We used that in the, I did a laptop overclock with them on an Alienware, what is it, Area 51M or something, the laptop, and we used the chiller for it. 1286 at 5.1, 1.5 was stable. That was about minus 90. Minus 90, 5.1, 1.50, 1281. Wow, okay, that is crazy. Let's get R20. Definitely need to keep this cold at this point because I don't want to have to break it down for condensation or anything. Okay, cool. Actually, I need to get this a little colder first. So we're at minus 76 right now. I'm trying to keep it around minus 90 at the moment. Should be able to do lower though. Freeze the hell out of that thermocouple wire though. Okay. Oh yeah, I said I was going to run single core. I need to do that still. We should probably do that in R15 so it doesn't take 8 years to do. Next one. Reaper Hacks. Love the content, man. Probably given you 1,000 watch hours by now. But anyway, why don't you use a streamable link? You get most or all of the money. Oh, Streamlabs. I'm not really exactly sure how all of that works, and I also am not sure that YouTube is okay with it, so I would have to look into it more. I've never really worked with Streamlabs. Toys are for boys. I mean, to be fair, YouTube is hosting like hours of this, so I don't feel too bad about giving them some money. Toys are for boys, $6.66. Here's $6.66 in Canadian to keep the evil out of your OC. If it crashes right now, we know who it was. Big Al, $2.68. Good to see you back. $5. Noise of opening LN2 valve. Ultimate RTX voice test. Yeah, it's definitely not quiet. It whines a lot. Like, I think someone described it as like an alien or a UFO noise once when we did this. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think that's about what it would sound like to be abducted. I should probably a little bit more in there. Okay, next one. TP Lusk, $5. Based and Steve Pilled. I don't know what that means, but thank you for the $5. Super Nice John, 50 SEK. I need that mouse. I have to blame my poor aim on something. Yeah, referring to the EVJ mouse I was using earlier. 3047. That's at minus 85. So let me write all that down. Minus 85, 5 point. Oh, I already have that written down. I just need the 3047. So it is scaling pretty linearly. Let's do a single. It almost certainly doesn't have to be too cold for this. Oh, I did it on R20. No, we don't want that. I'm gonna be here all day if we do that. Let's do a single thread on R15. Okay, R15's trying to boot. Actually, I have a 7700K score too at 5.1 for a single, so we can do that. Blendinator has the Blender logo as his avatar. Nice. Andrew approves, I think. Blendinator, $20 Canadian. Grab yourself a beer, hashtag BlenderFTW. Andrew, do you approve of this hashtag?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Andrew says, yeah, it's pretty good. Andrew likes Blender. Why does it matter? $2. Dip that EVJ mouse into the LN2. Yeah, this thing, I don't know. I think it's got something in the sensor. It's terrible. Just help it out a little bit. This one's gonna be cold now. All right, let's do single core. That should be enough for the rest of the stream probably. See, Joe's not here, so I'm actually not filling it all the way because then it would be difficult to tip it. And normally I make him do that. Okay. It's running. All right, nice. So we're at 5.1, I think. 1.50 volts, which is actually really good. We were at 5.0 at 1.4 volts if you've just tuned in. And that put us at 1278 points R15. Let me get a reference for you. 7700K 5.1 did 1110 points R15 at 100 megahertz faster. And on the, was that 4-year-old, 3-year-old processor? 7700K stock did 1007. Let's see, what's near? So at 5.0, 1.4, 1278 points R15. That puts us next to what? That's about, just for reference, that's where the 1600 AF stock is. So this is what it's taking to get a 1600 AF out of the 3100 in, you know, a tile-based renderer. So gaming's not quite the same because now you're looking more at frequency than threads. The 1600 AF still was definitely the best CPU anytime I can remember under $100. Like not even, in terms of value generationally, nothing came close to that thing. So they're still making them, they're still pushing them to the channel. I don't know if you'll be able to get one for $85, if you can beat the scalpers maybe, but that CPU makes the 3100 look bad, and the 3100 is really not bad in an objective sense. $5.9 did I hear about? No, we have not done 5.9. Someone asking about the Nothing like permanently damaging a CPU to gain 6 degrees improvement. So first of all, it doesn't actually permanently damage it. We haven't killed any yet. It doesn't really work that way. And secondly, it's more like 200 degrees Celsius of improvement, not 6. So it's a bit of a difference. Okay, is this a good buy? This, like all this, no. But the 3100, no also. We're saying the 3300X is the one you should get. It's $20 more, significantly better. Yeah, 1600 AF, I know. It's not really 85 anymore. It's unfortunate. It should be, and it's supposed to be, but yeah. Was geht Sie das an? 1.425 volts. I'm not sure to whom that's referring. Okay, so why don't you try this with a worse power supply? Well, because I don't want to kill the board and everything else attached to it. 232 points for single thread score. Let's look up some perspective here. So what else does, for perspective, 1600 AF stock is at 155 for this bench versus 232. You just do a percent scale. If those numbers don't really mean anything to you, they don't mean a whole lot to me either, because it's just a score. So let's do a percent scale. That puts this as about 40, it's about 50%, about 49.5% faster than the 1600 AF. And then if we do like 1600 AF at 4.2, it's single threaded. So it doesn't matter which Ryzen CPU it is if it's in the same generation. So that's a Zen Plus CPU. 4.2 is 177. So 232 minus 177 would be 31% faster. And what's comparable to 232? 3900X single is at 217. If I remember correctly, that was like 4.6 or 7 target or something. And then 224, here we go, 9700K. So Intel 9700K, 5.1 gigahertz, 1.4 volts, was doing 225 points. What voltage do I have this at, right? Or frequency? Is it 51? I think we're at 51 also. Might be at 52. Now, to be fair to the 9700K, it wasn't frozen. It was under a liquid cooler. But we'll compare them anyway. Give that a minute. Let's see, who else comes close to that? I think that's the closest one. That's the closest one we have logged. 7700K, 5.1 was 223. So it's like the same as the 9700K. Not really any improvement. Okay, yeah, so that's the comparison. Wait forever for this to launch. I check on chat and stuff like that. Store purchases, we got a couple in, thank you. Like I said, one of the best ways to support us is, well, the best way to support us is from the store because you get something in exchange. And then if you would prefer, you can also do super chats. I'll try and shout some of the store orders out, but can't do all of them, obviously, because of how much is going on right now. So we got one from Nolan from Alberta, who bought a keychain, GN keychain, and one of the mod mats. Thank you. I much appreciated one of the large mod mats. Still have enough of those for maybe another week or two. We'll see. A medium mod mat sale to Luke in Ohio, which will bring us down to, I think, 28 in inventory for medium mats. A bit more portable size on those. Open this up. We were at 51. Okay. So let me write down 232.51. 232.1T. Okay, cool. Let's go for 52. And 1.5 volts. Is it gonna die? It looks not happy. Yeah. Just stop that pour right there so we don't make it too cold. So if it doesn't come back, then we'll go with a higher voltage. We'll try 1.55. Okay. Whatever. All right. Is the mouse too close? Is the EVGA mouse screwing me over some other way? I think it's coming back on. Nope. Okay. So we need a higher voltage. Let's do 1.55. Mark from Germany picked up an anti-static mod mat. Signed. Thank you very much. We'll get those autographed and sent out as soon as possible. I think I'm signing more on Monday. And then a logo keychain and a teardown crystal. That is a big order. Thank you very much, Mark from Germany. Let's launch Ryzen Master again. I think it's going to reset, so it might take a minute. We got an order, just got an order in from Roger in Wisconsin. Grabbed one of the teal logo teardown shirts and one of the mod mats. Awesome, thank you, Roger. Much appreciated on the orders, guys, and the super chats I need to get back to, obviously. Okay, so it's reset itself to 51, 1.5. Let's go back up to 52, and then let's do 1.55 and just see if it maybe doesn't freak out as much on desktop. I think we're going to be about the limit here. 5.2 is really high. Yeah, I don't know about that. 5.2 is really high for this CPU. It's probably a low bin CPU. So we're definitely doing 5.1 with good scores. Let's see if we can do 5.2. I'm going to push for it. Should be able to hit it. Maybe it needs to be colder. I'll let it get into Windows and then bring the temperature down. Alexander from Helsinki. Nice. Grabbed the medium mod mat, signed. Don't see a lot of orders from Helsinki. We do get some, though. Okay. Oh, yeah. Why does it matter? Dip that into LN2 for the UGA mouse. Saw that. Eric, $5. I have my GN mousepad and GN large mod mat. Just got here today. Nice. Awesome. Let us know via the support email if you need anything setting those up. But mousepad should be straightforward. Mod mat should be good to go if you got everything in the box with it. Okay, so we're going to do 1.55, except I'm going to try. I don't know if Ryzen Master's bugging it out, but I guess I could always go through BIOS. Problem with BIOS is it's a little slower, and one of the issues we've learned with Ryzen overclocking is booting at a higher voltage, like 1.55 and up, can sometimes be really problematic. So it's interesting because, say hence it won't be applied. Interesting because with Ryzen Master, you're limited, unfortunately, to 1.55 volts. It does not, actually there might be an override. Let me see. In settings, is there an override? Histogram, advance, okay. I'm not sure what that is. Is there like a maximum voltage? Not on this version, if there is one. Okay, so I think we're limited to 1.55, but there might be a workaround that I'm not aware of. It's definitely possible. But let's just set 155, which it already is, and then we'll do 52. I'm going to bring the temperature down first. So we'll bring it down. It's currently minus 70. Let's go a lot colder this time. Let's see if we can do like minus 150. Dropped a big chunk of ice on the chipset. And it's gone. Could be water. So either too cold from that pour or too much water. Try it again before any kind of rebuild. Troy Borg, how does the CPU compare to the 3770K? Does it outperform it or about the same? I don't have a 3770K, unfortunately. I had someone offer one recently. We need to follow up on that. I can tell you how it performs relative to like, let's do the one surrounding that. Well, if you're asking overclock, I guess it's a different story. But do we have the 4000 series coming up in a video probably in the next week or so, that you'll be able to see the scoring for the 4000 series, like 4790K. But just, I have Cinebench open in front of me right now. This is not really a great tell for games, but let's see, 4790K was like 180 single thread. That'll extrapolate a little bit to games. And then 3100 was, wow, 180 single thread. So in that aspect, they're the same. If you want some more numbers, though, on the gaming, we have 10 years of Intel. That video has everything surrounding the 3770K. So 26 plus overclock, 47, I think, plus overclock. you can kind of look at roughly where like the 1600 AF is and non-tile based render performance, and you get the same thing. Let's see if we can get this thing back alive. I need to bring the temperature up right now, I think. It is too cold, so it's not happy booting. And it's gonna try and repair. Let's see if I can get super chats open. Evocati Productions, $10, thank you. Love me some Gamers Nexus. Oh, love me some Gamers Nexus, thank you. Best tech journalism on the net. Proud to be a Patreon supporter. Thank you for being a Patreon supporter. PS, sorry to bother you with Discord messages every now and then. I can't control myself sometimes. No problem, I just might not see it for a while. I've got a lot of notifications on there, so I'm really slow to getting to them. Try to go through and clear it every now and then, but it's a lot. There's a lot of messages, so I apologize if I don't respond. Is it gonna boot? I keep thinking there's like a fire because of the Gigabyte Extreme. It's got these like crazy LEDs on the tip of the fan blade, and they flicker like a rave. I don't know if you can see it from the camera perspective you're at, but like if we turn the monitor off, oh, they've stopped spinning now. But they flash like the GTA 5 police lights when you turn the game on. They flash like that. So I keep thinking there's there's a cloth on fire or something. Okay. Maybe I need to check and make sure. I probably need to check on the LN2 mode, maybe. Oh, we've already booted. So if this works, cool. If not, I'll go into BIOS and see if there's some stuff we can do. Okay. Let's wait on applying this for a second. Bring the temperature down again. Try it again. Andreas Thompson, 20 DKK, thank you. Guess RTX voice would do wonders with that fan. Yeah, the EK one previously. Probably. We tested it with the 3000 or whatever RPM Noctua fan, and it worked great. The 10 series we had weird bugs with. It doesn't seem like everyone can replicate, but some people can. So it's still basically an alpha. Once it's kind of out of alpha status, I might actually try using it for streams where we don't want to, if we don't have LN2 noise we're concerned about. It'd be nice just to get rid of some of that fan noise, but yeah, okay, so it doesn't like the cold. So what we're gonna do is pull the SSD, get into BIOS, and see if there's some LN2 settings I can do. How's chat doing? Raise SoC, yeah, I can do that. What else is chat saying? 4790K gain. Yeah, it's a good CPU still. I think it's time to do SoC. We're at, 5.1 successfully so far. Okay. Why? LN2 mode on. Oh wait, I already have a profile for this. Let's just do that. Stream. Okay. That should take care of the advanced settings tab, yes. And then let's do SoC. Let's get the boot voltage a little higher. 1.4. And then let's do SoC. 1.3. VDDG should already be overridden somewhere else in this profile, but we'll do it twice since AMD has so many of the same settings everywhere. 1175, 1150, 1175. Let's go up to the, this is what I'm talking about again, just if you missed it earlier, but, and the overclocking is going to have like half the same options. It's not always clear which one overrides which. I need VDDG override. 11, let's do 1150, 1150. Okay. Trying to keep an eye on chat too. People talking about 4670K. Motherboard he's using is 700 retail. That sounds about right. It is definitely not something I would recommend coupling with a $100 CPU. Let's see if it'll boot. It's at minus 84. It might be too cold. Alicia O'Brien in chat says, can you please do a review on the... Then the message stops. So I'm going to go with maybe. What is the best performing thermal paste? I'm willing to pay whatever. Der Bauer has got some paste he'd like to sell you. So for like extreme cold, definitely Cryonaut and KPX are the two for extreme cold. The thing you care about in extreme cold that you don't care elsewhere is at what point it cracks or how much the paste will crack. So when you're working on it, sometimes you'll hear an actual pop when the paste like cracks under the extreme cold. And at that point, you want to basically heat it back up with a blowtorch and sort of reflow, like melt the paste. But as for non-extreme paste, the extreme paste aren't necessarily the best performers for normal above ambient cooling. So Thermal Grizzly is a long-term sponsor of ours, obviously, but they make Hydronaut and Cryonaut that are both good. Arctic MX4 is probably one of the more affordable common ones that's widespread. It's perfectly fine. We use it all the time also. For the most part, the only things I really try to avoid is the extremely cheap paste that's like turns parts green. We have some of that. Or the really liquidy paste. And because and then there's also like the electrically conductive paste. I don't really like to work with it. It performs well, but there's a concern of shorting stuff out. And when you like replace stuff as much as I do, that risk gets a lot higher. I think it's too cold, so I probably need to heat it up and see if all of our settings actually are going to help us out here. Hope they are. Let's get this heated. Definitely too cold for booting. Something that Ryzen's really picky about. Originally, when this stuff came out, we couldn't get it to boot below minus 15, which was terrible. But the LN2 modes they've added have made that a lot better. Okay, minus 40 should be good. So recap while I'm trying to get this stable again. So far, we've had a really good run with the CPU. I was not at all expecting the performance we got. We got 1.4 volts all the way up to 5.0 gigahertz. That was at minus 100 degrees, so it's not even my final form. It can go colder than that, but that's really good. That's actually kind of crazy because we were doing like 1.343 at 4.4 all-core on a liquid cooler. So really good scoring there. Points-wise, that's 1278 R15. It was about 3,013 points R20. And then we had 5.1 going at 1.5 volts. And that one was at 1281 R15. It was at 3047 for R20. If you want to look up other scores, you can find them on HardwareBot and compare them. And then single-threaded did 232 points. So that should get everyone kind of up to speed on where we are with the scoring. This is a 3100. And that is the dual CCX 2+2 approach rather than the 4+0 single CCX of the 3300X, which is a better CPU and is the one you should buy if you're going to buy one of the two. But we wanted to work with this one just because it was the cheapest one, and that makes it fun for different reasons. I think it might be, maybe, recovering. It's weird when it diagnoses the PC, it never says, you poured liquid nitrogen all over the board and now there's condensation everywhere. I don't know why Microsoft hasn't added that in. It would be really helpful if they could do it. They're just out of touch. They don't know what their user base wants anymore. Okay, trying to catch up on the chat. What is the pink thermal paste Roman uses when he streams? I think that's Cryonaut Extreme. I'm not 100% sure. We don't have it. I'm pretty sure it's Cryonaut Extreme, which is not out yet. It's publicly known, though. He's trying to get that finalized, and that'll be their next product that they'll sell after Cryonaut, obviously. I haven't actually asked him if he's going to sell both. One of these days, the proc hot should be disabled. Okay, I'm way behind on super chats. I'm trying to keep an eye on like chat and super chats. Disable proc hot. Is that in Ryzen master or do I need to go to BIOS? Disable chop flop. Why don't you use the Aorus Extreme? The Aorus Extreme is fine, but this already has Vaseline all over it, so. There it is. Click to disable. Okay, manual mode. I'm not really sure if that's going to fix our problem, but we'll try it. Considering we're at cold, but I guess if it bugs out at cold, then sure. Let's bring this down. Actually, let's not bring that down. 41. Okay. Is this gonna work now? Disable. Okay. Apply, I guess. Okay. Let's bring this back up. Let's do a 5.0 run, just to see if we can get it all working again. Do R15 for something shorter. Temperature is currently minus 37. Joe says, what's shaking and what I miss? Joe, I think you misspelled slacking. It's okay, it happens to the best of us. So currently, Joe, we are at, best I did was 5.1, 1.5 volts. We got up to 5.0 at 1.4 volts, which is really good. And now I'm trying to just restabilize at 5.0. I've disabled proc hot, processor hot, I guess. And chat is really bastardizing the name of that. Disable crockpot, disable proc hot, disable hot pocket. Always rely on chat to take a helpful, useful message and distort it into something I don't understand. Joe, do you do that in your streams? I haven't actually messed with the proc hot setting before. I already did. I got it, guys. It's off. Enable the disable proc hot button, someone said. Okay. I think I got that one. Bob Flanders, will you sign the mouse pad if I buy? I'm not doing that today, sorry. We are so backed up right now, and I still need to sign a bunch of mod mats. It's definitely evaporating really fast, that's nice. Okay, let's get a little colder. Joe, that's not helpful at all. Joe said, damn autocorrect, I like Hot Pockets tater filled. That doesn't help me. What am I supposed to do with that information? Who eats Hot Pockets filled with potato tots? Insane. Okay. Minus 96. Let's see if it goes. This is at 5.0, so we stepped it down a little bit. Chat is actually insane. Why eat pork chop when overclock? Is clap clap disabled from Borderlands? Can I use the mod pad as a mouse pad? I mean, you can, but it's a gritty surface and it'll create drag. It's not something we market it for. Definitely don't advertise it as a mouse pad. If you like resistance on the mouse, then I guess go for it. But we use them as mouse pads on our test benches. But I mean, if you want like a smoother surface to work on, definitely just get a mouse pad. You always put the mouse pad on top of the mod mat. 1284, that's at 5.0. That's about what we were getting, more or less. It's actually better than our 5.1 score by 3 points, so there was something going on there. So let's kill this and try again at 5.1. See if we can, it looks like it's maybe restabilized, so that's cool. Frocked the pork chop hot pock chop hot. Proc hot. Okay. Chat's lost its mind. Let's do it. Only enlightened people eat tater tots in their hot pockets. Dave says, hi, Stephen GN team. Are the teardown toolkits coming back? Also, the GN Blueprint shirt in large is currently sold out. Thank you for notifying me. I actually just placed an order for the Blueprint shirts about a week ago, so this should be getting made this week, or weekend maybe. And then the toolkits, yes. Finally, yeah. We had a hell of a time getting an order in, again, because of like all the human malware, shipping delays, all the factories are making masks and medical gear now, so we're pretty low on the priorities list and have minimal leverage, but they finally found a break in their schedule where they can get back to the stuff they were making before. And the toolkits are in production. We don't have an exact ETA on them yet, but it's looking like a couple months out at this point. So but they are getting made, so that's good news. Okay, let's run this again at 5.1, see if it's maybe working better now. Lola Brick, will you do a custom mod using that car radiator as a side panel, please? I always forget about that. This is just sitting here. Yeah, this is a Mora 3. This is by Watercool. I think I called it. I said it's like a car radiator, or I might have put car radiator in the title. It technically is not a car radiator. They did customize it, but it's basically like the size of a very large, something you would probably find in a vehicle. So it's close, but they did customize it apparently. I don't know to what extent. Will I do it as a side panel? I don't have a plan to, but I know that Roman at Gamescom 2018, Der Bauer, had a case that he prototyped that had this as part of the case, I think as a side panel. I don't know if we did a video on it, but and I don't think it came to market, but it was a fun project to look at, and I would love to do something with it, but I could also understand that it will probably not make a ton of money because I don't think a lot of people buy those Moras. Let's bring it down to minus 100, see if it's alive. So we're at 5.1 right now. That is really nice. The speed of evaporation on this is insane at the moment. KC Threadgill, at this point, should I wait for the 3080 Ti or invest in water cooling an RTX 2080 non-super? Very hard to find compatible cooler for my model. Water cooling is not a cheap investment, but I also don't know when the 3080 Ti is going to come out or what it will cost. So unfortunately, I have really no idea in any way that's like officially helpful. I'll let you know what I personally think. I don't know. Personally speaking, I don't suspect the 3080 Ti is immediately around the corner, but I could be completely wrong. Typically, just based on trend, that is a better score than before. We did some changes in BIOS, so that's probably part of that. I think I increased, I think I turned memory up to 3200, but anyway, let me write this down and I'll finish answering that. 1311, that's minus 100 and 5.1. 1.50, I think. I'll check that in a minute. So typically, NVIDIA does an 80 first, 1080, 2080, and then it's the Ti later. I don't know if they're going to follow that trend. I suspect they will, just because I guess if I had to rationalize my thought process beyond the history, it would be that until AMD has something which can beat whatever NVIDIA's like 3080 is, I don't know that NVIDIA would launch a 3080 Ti. It seems like they'd kind of sit on it and sell as many that they can of the other cards and just kind of accumulate the best silicon for a 3080 Ti and then launch that when AMD thinks it has something to beat their 3080. So that would be how I'd rationalize it, but I have no idea if that's going to be accurate. So should you upgrade or should you go water cooling? Is there a middle ground? Can you just keep using the card as is, not upgrade it with water cooling and then buy 3080 later? That's probably what I would do. Because I'm not sure how the resale value is on something once you put a block on it. A lot of people probably just want an air cooler. Ryzen Master is taking really long to launch, but it's looking good so far. Steve left rainbow vomit on that monitor. Well, I can't see it, so that's fine. I just saw hardware numbers thing. I can try that in a minute too. Don't use, okay. I don't have the MSI tool, unfortunately, hardware numbers. I don't like Ryzen Master, but I don't have the MSI tool. And then I have issues booting once I use BIOS to increase the voltage. But let's see how far we can go with this still, because we were almost at 52 earlier. So let's just try this first, then we'll try those suggestions. Okay. So it's at minus 95 right now. Should be sufficient to just click run and see if it's gonna live. No LN2. Let's see the chats. Jonathan Davis, $5. I want Steve to use the 11,000 RPM Blowimatron fan. No, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to hear that. I don't want to ask Linus to ship it to me either. It'd be an interesting customs form though. What is it? Oh, it's a Blowimatron. What's that? It's a Blowimatron. What more do you need to know? Did it live? Oh wow, okay. Score's the same, but it did live. So that's 5.2. Stig Eric Baccarat. I'm a real-time slacker, they say. Teradum Tech, $10. New Rip J GN rivalry coming up now. Maybe with RTX 3000. Oh yeah, I got confused because I said if it launches. I was like, it did launch, but then I was thinking of Ryzen 3000. I mean, yeah, I'd like to do more. It'd be fun to do one on like a budget. I'd have to ask them about how we'd set that up, like a less extreme version. Just to maybe it'd be something that like viewers could check their own hardware against if we do something that's less insane than like dual Titan RTXs and all that stuff. But no immediate official plan. I do want to respond to his old score too. I recently put the Titan RTXs back underwater, so we can potentially go back that route. Okay. All right, let's see. Joe in chat. PLL 2.3. No cold bug, okay. Can't do 1.77. I don't think it'll boot. But what do we have? SoC, I think I put at 1.3. Let's just do 1.4. And instead of the 1.5, I know, but PLL, I don't ever mess with. What do we have here? Okay. Is hardware numbers in chat still? So PLL 2.3, he says SoC 1.5, but we'll leave it 1.4 for now. Shouldn't have any cold bug. And then the other recommendation was not using Ryzen Master, but I don't have the MSI tool right now, so we'll use Ryzen Master. Did he hit 5 gigahertz? Yeah, we hit 5.1, and technically I think just did 5.2. What RAM are we using? It's a G-Skill 4000 megahertz kit. Okay, we're just gonna go with why 3100 instead of 3300X, just because I wanted to, because it's cheaper. I haven't really had a problem with 1.55 yet, but okay, if we could not like backspace it, that'd be great. I'd do like 6 volts, that seems good. Please, keyboard. Thank you. can't use this thing. But I needed a smaller keyboard. I need Joe to bring his back. Okay. Yes, we disabled Procot. Why no power measure? I guess I can. Let's just do... I think we'll just take it at the wall. It'll be easier. Actually, let me grab these. No, these are fine. So let's shut down, do a power measurement, I guess. So people are asking for power consumption. We'll just take that. I don't have it like all the way up to this point though, so it's not going to mean a ton other than a lot of voltage and a lot of frequencies, a lot of power. But I guess that's still kind of fun to see. Okay. Okay, power in. So this will give us a power reading for the CPU. All right. James Harvey just bought a large mod mat. Keep up the good work. Thank you. What's the Vaseline for? It is to prevent condensation from like water buildup from actually getting on the board, on the electronics, and shorting them. So it just provides a film to prevent contact. I forgot that I left that there though. Scammers Nexus shipped to Canada. Yes, we ship worldwide. Okay. Let's let that boot for a minute. Bearded hardware. Steve will get over 5 gigahertz easily. That was at 421. Yeah, we did beat that. Let me read a whole bunch of these, I guess, for a minute and get caught up. Dave, the fan doesn't spin until Steve, the name of the power supply, gets hot. Kevin Wise, $5. Steve, do you know when the X570 Tomahawk will be released? They told me they were hoping for May, I think, is what originally, but that I don't know if that's changed. Boom, $5. Just bought a mouse pad to replace my 10-year-old Dell XPS metal mouse pad. I have one of those. I have a game branded one actually from that I won from some gaming thing. Yeah, I know exactly the model you're talking about though. Is there anything cool or different about OCing an i7-5775C? We are still exploring that. Yes, there are cool and different things. We'll need to do a full content piece on it. The EDRAM is pretty interesting. Shake Capo, $199. Is this the cooling the PS5 is going to use? I don't know. I don't think so. SPLZD, 103, $10. No message. Thank you. Hydraxon, HUF 400. Ayo, have 400 HUF bucks. Thank you. What is HUF currency? Hungarian. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Robert Mail, $10. Tell Linus to make short circuit t-shirts. He'll get the reference. Okay, I'll trust you. Or he'll just make them and not ask anything. He'll be like, yeah, that's a great idea. Harry Morris, $10. Thanks for the awesome media mod mat. My mom bought me one for my birthday and surprisingly came sooner than expected with all the human malware issues. Well, happy birthday, and I'm glad you're liking it. I certainly like working with them, but I'm biased. And yeah, thanks for picking one up. Bearded Hardware, $199. Give me my tots. Joe's got to come back up to do some overclocking once we can get tater tots. Because he's made that a thing, and now That's all I hear. We caught up a good amount here. I should probably read another page of these or so. Andrew Roughcar, $10, thank you. Why not a 3300X? Yeah, I've answered that by now, but I guess I'll just do it again. So, because I wanted to use a 3100. It was that simple. Ford Power 5288, $20. My R9 3900X refuses to go below 1.4, 1.49 volts, even when idle. Any quick tips you can throw at me? Well, idle, that voltage, I don't think you really need to be scared about. One, I'm not sure if the software is fully accurate, and two, it's not really doing anything. So, no, not really. Evocati, Buildzoid might be able to talk more about that. Evocati Productions, $10. Better than Ryzen Master is the internal ASUS tool. Yeah, I know. I don't have it. Can set vCore, CCX2, desired frequency in Windows 10, and it's instant. Oh, can send in Discord if you want. Yes, please send it in Discord. I will use that next stream. I asked MSI to send one, but I think I asked when they were already on their weekend break, unfortunately. Oh, shoot, I set the voltage independently of the frequency, so I'm going to have to set a lower voltage in this. But, yeah, no, that would be great. I could definitely use a better tool than this. Let's try 5.3. I'm thinking it's not going to like that. Yeah. So I guess we'll probably boot to BIOS, set the frequency there and the voltage there, and see how it goes. See if it can boot at the higher voltages. I do want to get a power number, though, which would just mean running a lower frequency, I guess. Okay. Ratio, let's do 53. This keyboard makes me feel like I've never used a keyboard before. It's too small. Why does it matter? Good thing I just upgraded from a 7700K to a 3900X. DJ ArcForce, $5. Thank you. R7 3700X or 10700, or just stick with my 8700. What do you think? An 8700K is still really good. So if that's what you have, I mean, unless you feel a need, like your software is not really getting work done fast enough, then I would just stick with it. But 10700, I have no idea. I haven't tested it, so I can't really speak to that right now. Okay. Starting to slow down on the bench now. We're also going to be dealing with condensation soon. So let me try and get through as many of these as I can in case it does not further overclock. We're at the point in the stream where it just starts to, it takes more and more effort to get anything out of it, because it always happens where it's like really fast at the front end. Bearded Hardware makes me want to bin a bunch of these chips. Why? Why on earth would you want to do that? I guess they're cheap, so you can buy a lot of them. Born to War 20. I just got 940 on R15 with a 4790K at 4.9 gigahertz. That's good perspective. So this was doing at 4.9, about 1260 points in R15 for perspective. I think we're actually R15. Where'd it go? I think we're actually getting, we are much more caught up than we were. That's good. Need to heat it up. LowJack Gaming. Do you think the 3100X would be better for video encoding over the 2600X? 3100, I guess you mean. Or do I just spend the cash and buy a 3700X? We have the answer to that. Check our review of the 3300X. We have Adobe Premiere benchmarks in there with rendering. We have Blender benchmarks with rendering for a tile-based renderer. So it's going to depend application to application to some extent, but assuming they're all optimized similarly, they should scale somewhat similarly, at least within an architecture. So we do have numbers for that that should help you get the answer. Let's go BIOS, and actually, I'd like to see if it boots. Bearded Hardware, when Steve orders the wrong CRC, chips end up dead. No, that was not my fault. Mike Farino, $5. Do you know of a technical reason other than BIOS chip size that Zen 3 wouldn't be compatible with X270 or X470? BIOS chip size is a real reason. I think people have completely lost the plot on it and gone way overboard insane with this. You can already kind of tell this where board vendors had to drop support for some of the CPUs with time to add support for Zen 2. So it's a real reason, and not everyone has 32 megabyte BIOS. And then, yes, there's other reasons too, like RMA support would be a major headache. You start dealing with some boards are prepared for these upgrade pathways and some aren't. So how do you deal with that scenario? But the BIOS chip size is a real issue though, especially because all the motherboard BIOSes are all different sizes because they all have different flashy graphics in them. So they have to make cuts. Kai China, $5. Is there ever a worry about losing power delivery due to cold temperatures on the motherboard? I don't think so. I think just losing stability or the ability to boot at all is more of the problem. Because it shouldn't be too cold anymore. So I guess what I need to do is reset BIOS, get a couple power readings, and then probably call it there at 5.2. Or was it 5.3? It's 5.2. Garrick Jacobson, you just need more soldiers. That was a funny video. It's on Dare Bauer's channel if you didn't see it. And it was his 10th gen coverage. Chris, I want to OC my 3200 Vengeance RGB kit with 3700X. Do you think it can make it to 4600 plus? You should make a video about Extreme MOC. I'm not an expert there at all, but Buildzoid has a whole series on memory overclocking that'd probably be great for you because he doesn't leave any detail out, so you can get like the whole start to finish. 3200 to 4600 is quite the jump. I would not go into it expecting that unless you destroy the timings. Keep in mind that frequency is not everything. You have to bring the timings, like worsen them as you push those frequencies. So there's a chance you end up in a worse scenario in performance than with the lower frequency. I think this is going to be a BIOS reset at this point, which is going to be a pain. Definitely should not be too cold. So it probably doesn't like that multiplier I set. Let's just pull BIOS, pull the CMOS battery for a second. So I'm just pulling the CMOS battery and then we'll plug it back in and start over with a couple power measurements, probably call it there. Iwakari Production sent the Asus CCXOC tool, thank you. Pepe, I think, $5 Canadian, thank you. 26 for life, never 650B, never 29ers. I wish I could have stuck to 26ers on mountain bikes, but can't get a damn frame, and my frame for 26ers cracked. So I ended up with a 650B, but I definitely agree that I'm not going to 29. Inderjeet Singh, if I send you some ghost chili pork cracklings, can you see if the LN2 makes them less spicy? I'm not going to test it, but Andrew, do you like that kind of stuff?
LN2 in my food.
No, not LN2 in your food. Just the ghost chili pork cracklings.
I don't know.
I'm not positive what that is, to be honest. I'm not really a food person. I think the answer is no, we won't pour LN2 on them, and I don't know that I want to eat ghost peppers or whatever anyway. I need a tool for this. That's too fat. Just gonna resocket the CMOS 2032. Why do we have to shove these down between things? Almost. Sorry, I'm completely focused trying to get this pin back in between a heatsink and the audio panel. I guess I have to take the video card out. Oh, damn it. Okay. Smells like map gas. Don't know where. This is such a pain. Okay, let's do this properly. A little bit of water on there. It's not too bad though. Really want motherboard manufacturers to not hide the CMOS battery. So this thing's under like a whole plastic shroud to begin with that I removed for this reason. I know there's a limited amount of space, but still. Eventually, we will have a battery in the motherboard. Oh, there we go. Okay, nice. Hardest thing so far. Okay. BIOS would be great. Lego Freak says, what is the Ryzen 3100 score compared to the 4350? I actually don't have a 4350. That was one of the ones I skipped. That was when I was basically only had CPUs if I bought them for personal use, not even for a review. So yeah, unfortunately don't have one. You'd have to look up a 4350. You can compare it if you want. Stock, we got about 1008 or so, 1018. Nice, it did boot, good. Okay, that's what we want. Have to reset everything now. But yeah, I don't actually know the scores of the old like bulldozer stuff. I think I only have the 8000 series stuff, and I think it's all pile driver or whatever their naming was. So, okay, I want to leave we're just going to get power numbers. So we're going to leave most of this stuff alone. Technically, we didn't have to increase SoC earlier for stability with like 5.0 and 5.1. So I'm going to try and leave that alone if I can get away with it, just because it will influence the power. And we'll just do it the way we were doing it earlier and just try and get some power numbers out of this. And I need to bring the temperature down so that it doesn't start turning into water, which at -2 degrees, it's going to do very soon. Okay. LaSalle Rhymes, thank you for all the stuff and info. You've been helping me build an X570 build. Nice. X570 is expensive, but a good amount of the boards are really nice. Red Winged Blackbird, Rip J, hello on a chilly May day. Okay. Snake Juice, $5. Tell Roman to send my wife an 011 Mini. Roman, send Snake Juice's wife an 011 Mini. Night Raven, For me, Ryzen Master OC was stable at a higher clock, lower voltage than BIOS settings. Not sure if it was valid, but the app is so damn broken, I uninstalled it before checking. Yeah, that sounds about right. It looks like we're actually going to be bootable now, so that's nice. That's exciting. We get a power number finally. Trying to catch up on these so we can close out. Let me put a stop on the super chats. So as of 6:10 p.m. on the clock on this screen anyway, I'm not going to read any more after 6:10. So let me update OBS here just so that it doesn't say that I'm reading them. That way we can catch up and try and get through the rest of them and get a couple power numbers or something in there. Okay, good. Cool. Kiddles, $10 for Snowflake's cat food. Keep up the awesome content. Thank you. She does have expensive tastes. She'll turn her nose up at a lot of things. So let's open this up. Get back to one of our settings that was working earlier. We'll probably, let's do like 4.9 at 1.4 and just get whatever that number looks like. Hence it won't be applied. Okay. Okay, and bring this down to like minus 100 or something. So let's do 4.9. Then I want the lower voltage to see what that is first. Apply. Need some more of that too. So we're at minus 40. Paul the Bearded One Downing. Have a few quid on me. Best of luck. I thought the ceiling would have been about 5.2. Yeah, you're right. That's about where it was with the settings I'm using. I'm sure other guys could push it higher, but I don't get to do this except once every couple months. So I'm very happy with the 5.2 that we're seeing. That's a hell of a lot better than I thought we'd see, especially at the voltages we were seeing. So yeah, thank you. Next time Joe comes in, maybe we can push it higher. Tom, debating on the pronunciation. Micklethwaite, $5. Keep up the good work. Impartial reporting is essential. Thank you. That's the role we try to fill. Samuel Furr, can't wait for the Z490 OC streams that I hope are upcoming. They are for sure. Buildzoid seems super excited about the new OC features. Yeah, I need to talk to him about some of those. One of the other overclockers was telling me that Z490 has been the easiest platform he's ever worked with. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying it out for XOC. And even just for on air and liquid. I'm thinking is proc hot before chat freaks out. Okay. So let's just run this and get power. Power in. Okay. All right, multi-core. So this is a current, so it's like 5.6 amps. That sounds, wait, what? That sounds not right. No, I must have, I have to have wired that wrong. If I grabbed a ground cable, that would explain that. I don't believe you. Not really a reason it should be wrong. They're both going in, right? Yeah. Both in. 60 watts? I guess the voltage is kind of low. What's our power? Score is right, so the score is definitely validating. Where were our power numbers? Power testing. I'm just opening up a spreadsheet. 3100. 3100 stock was 50.4 and 4.4 gigahertz, 1.368 get voltage was 71. So either I do have, oh, I don't actually have DDR4 really set either for whatever. I guess the voltage is not as high on that either. Let's see. Package power. Well, that looks like it's I mean, there's no reason that a physical hardware current clamp should be wrong, other than like user error, and it is connected correctly. I did that twice for that reason. So I guess it is just that low. I guess power leakage reduction from the cold temperature and then also not running the memory at a higher voltage like we did for the review, because we were running a memory actually tuned for the gaming and stuff like that. So I guess that's right. That's stupid low. Let's see, how's like 5.1. Yeah, that is the correct power number. Okay, cool. Let me catch up on the rest of these. Got that one. Stompy Robots. Watching intently on an FX 8350. That's similar to what I use in my system. Can't say it's the best CPU I've used, but it works. Nikolai Capota. I have a 7700K, 1070, 32 gigabytes, 3000 CL15. Where do I go from here? Only gaming on 1440. Any thoughts on upgrading? 7700K when it's overclocked is still like a chart topper, or well, not always, but I guess it depends on the game. For the more thread-intensive games, it's starting to fall behind. But I would say overclock it if you feel confident doing that, or use it as a learning platform, and then upgrade the GPU. You've probably still got some room in that 7700K, and that would maybe stretch you through to the 10 series if you want to stick on Intel, or you could evaluate and see if you want to go AMD at that point. K. Rolig, some coffee for you. Thank you. Bearded Hardware, trick question, Roman blue screened. Theodore Bakor, why don't you do any benchmarks for audio production? Well, like most questions that start with why don't you, it's not really as simple as us just like clicking the audio production benchmark executable. We'd have to figure out what we were doing. We don't do audio production, so it's not a task we're familiar with. That means we'd have to familiarize ourselves with it to produce a meaningful number. So we try not to do things unless we actually understand it in terms of producing data. So that's why we don't do it. Isaac Smith, what would this chip do on chilled water? Well, based on the numbers earlier, at minus 41, I was at 4.8 gigahertz. So, I mean, that's a bit below chilled water, but even still, it seems like it would. I would think it would do like 4.7, 4.8, no problem. Mike Farino, speaking of bad buys, my first build was inefficient. It was a GTX 780, 1 terabyte 840 EVO, 4670K Maximus, on the Maximus that is, which was 2 times the cost of the CPU, AX1200, which cost me the same as the CPU, and a case that was also $200. I mean, you got a lot of stuff you can pull forward to future builds at least. Okay. And back up to 51. Trying to get through the super chat so we can start closing this out. Joseph, will mod mats be signed if purchased during the stream? No, there's a separate like signed mod mat drop down. If you want one, you can click on that and order that one. but we're not doing like extra signing because of the stream for this one. Shotsky, will AMD go for the gaming title with this next release? I don't know. I mean, Zen 3 at that point is what you're talking about, and Intel's gonna have 10 series in between. It's definitely gonna get closer, but there seems to be like a GPU or driver overhead too that limits AMD in some of the games a little bit more. So I'm gonna go with probably the 10900K will still be in the lead, but that lead might be mitigated to a point where it really doesn't matter a whole lot. We'll see. Did I click apply already? Let's go back up to 1.55 or 1 point. Let's do 1.53. Okay, and we'll get a power number on this one. That should be a lot higher in theory. It's not cold enough. Oh, okay. Guess it's just gonna have to see if it lives. Saw it coming. Okay, that looks, let's run it again. .2 amps on that one, by the way. So current clamp's not super legible through all the smoke, but 7.2 is the number on that. Multiply that by 12 and you get your powers. It's still 7.2, 7.271. That's actually really low. That's just silly. After you finish benching the next Intel CPU releases, how many Intel SKUs do you think will top your gaming benchmark charts until you finally get an AMD top performing CPU? 12, 15? I mean, if you like get rid of the OC results, then maybe like 97, 99, 10, 9, 10, 7. Ignoring like HEDT, I would say probably like 4, and then once you add the overclock numbers in, it's a lot bigger. 87's up there still in a lot of cases. 1306, that was 5.1. Okay, let's just go for broke on the last ones, I guess. Terraphocopter, $1, thank you. Bob Flanders, is that the Excelsior? I want the Constitution class. Oh, in the back over there? I think that's the NCC 1701B, but I'm not sure. Wayne McAllister, love your content. Recently built a new system and GN reviews really helped. Thank you. As a particle physicist, I appreciate all those charts and the proper axis labels. My workbench is now sporting a mod mat. Well, thank you for buying one. As a particle physicist, you are way beyond my level of understanding a lot of the stuff that you do, obviously, but I can say that I've run TimeSpy Extreme Physics, and that has particles in it. So I think I understand your job now, based on my experience with TimeSpy Extreme Physics. I don't know what you use in particle physics. I would assume you probably use some kind of CFD software or simulation software. I don't know. I'm curious if that's CPU or GPU intensive these days. I know a lot of that stuff can go on CUDA now, but I'm not sure how optimized it is. Renzier, $10, thank you. Travis Stern, $10. Are you interested in LGA 775 XOC? I have a box of parts, including a nice motherboard, that I'd like to send to a worthy grave. I mean home, a worthy home, they said. If you want to send it to a grave, it might be Joe, would be the best bet. I've never done 775 XOC. I've barely done XOC in general. So my experience is pretty limited, obviously. But I'm not interested in it right now. I don't know what I would do with it. It's not as easy to overclock the older stuff. But maybe that's something I can ask Joe about and see if he wants to like come up here sometime and couple that in for like a legacy stream. Come on, wake up. I gotta go download that tool from Evocati. Okay, apply. We're at 77 right now. So looks like 5.2 is probably going to be our max today, but we'll see. DCam65, thanks for being far and away best PC hardware channel on YouTube. I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. Just wanted to ask, do you think an EVGA CLC 280 would be enough for a 3900X? Yes, no problem at all, for sure. Those fans are kind of loud, though. That's the 140. The fans you'd get with the 140 is definitely a lot better than the 360. So you have that going for you on the 280. I think the 280 CLC is the best one in terms of price, performance, and noise that EVGA makes. The 360 is like, you got to tune that thing. It sucks otherwise. It's way too loud. But 280 is good. Cool Dad, $2. Do you think my 3770K at 4.5 bottlenecks a 5700 XT? The one CPU I don't have. Well, I'm not sure. I guess it would depend on the title. If you're playing at higher resolutions, you always have the advantage of probably not. Like if you're playing at 1440 4K. This is still alive at minus 130 now. That's good. I'm gonna try bring it down to like minus 130 or 40 and see if it lives. Okay, let's go. Still going. Ranzier, $5. Forgot my message. This is a good time for big jumps. My daily from an FX 8350 at 4.425 all core to a 3800X at 4.425 all core. Nicely done. That is a massive jump, especially since now you have real cores instead of the class action lawsuit or the 8000 series. So that is a huge jump. And I like that you're running it on the same frequency, presumably all these years later. If you bought that 8000 series new, that's a lot of years on that frequency. But that architecture clocked higher and was also significantly worse in every way. So big upgrade. Wow. Okay, sweet. So it's alive. So that's 1322. 1.55 minus 140. It is working again. Reminder, we cut off the super chat, so don't send any more. I won't read them because we're going to have to get through these at some point. Karamanis John, $2. Steve, please never stop doing what you do. I do not plan to stop. So your $2 will go towards continuing to not stop. Thank you for the support. Baker Campbell, $10. Hey Steve, just want to tell you thanks for the charity recommendations, especially Eden Project. Yeah, they've been doing a lot lately. I think Gamigo Group is working with them now. Also, that 5.0 at 1.4 beat my expectations by a Canadian effing mile. Like, WTF is that? I agree. 5.0 at 1.4, to be fair, really cold, but that was crazy. Ryzen Master's buying us all the time we need for super chats. Parody Raja Pandian says, following your channel from last year, planning to buy a 3300X from 53, I think there's i5 3570K graphics this year. Is it possible to ship a mod mat from your factory? Shipping from us from US is expensive. No, well, we have to ship it from here. So yeah, I know. Like shipping to India from here is definitely not cheap, but unfortunately that's the best we can do right now because we're not like an Amazon size or something, so we don't get the discounts. The tiering on shipping's completely insane. To get discounts, you have to do so much more volume than us that I don't know that we'll ever do it. So sorry, that's the best I can do on the shipping, whatever's on the site. It is like a 6-pound, 20-something inch long large object though, so it's not cheap to ship. Robert Irwin, at least it wasn't scented Vaseline I guess when I went and bought it with Joe. Yes, at least it wasn't that. So was that 5.3 I was running at? Let's try like 5.35. No, not 325. 5.350. Okay, we're at minus 130, so let's bring it down to a 150. Definitely works better to an extent when it's colder. All right, run. So we've gotten up to 5.3 now. We're trying 5.35 because I'm suspicious about the end. But it's at minus 152 degrees. Next one, Rob, oh, I got yours. Vocaloid posts. Have you ever tested thermal paste on purpose or accidentally? Oh, tasted, I misread that. I was gonna say yes, I have tested it. Probably accidentally. Wow, it's still working, man. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go with yes, probably accidentally, but I don't recommend it. It's probably not good for you. 5350, sweet, 1.55, and it did increase the score. I don't know how efficient that score is, but it went up. Let's just go ahead and run R20 while we're at it. Kind of pushing my luck on that, but let's do it anyway. Let's do R20, get a score for that one. So it is actually back in action, going up again. Nico Mimi, no message, but thank you. Knifeography, $5. ModMac got me 200 extra FPS. Thanks. That's unexpected. Also, I would pay for all costs associated with having the ShamWow guy do a ModMac commercial. Does that include the liability cost of hiring the ShamWow guy? Because I'm not sure that I want to be associated with that. Andrew Lai Wayne, 50 ZAR. Steve, how much would we need to donate for you to shave all your hair off? Literally not possible. Elia M, $5. Do we know anything about Ryzen 4000? No. We don't know anything official about Ryzen 4000 other than the fact that there's a laptop version that's already out, but I know that's not what you're asking about. Okay, wow, that was extremely delayed. Minus 142, let's go. See if it can do it. We're at 5350 on a 3100 $100 CPU, 4-core 8-thread, and it has been actually scaling. Beat the 7700K a long ass time ago. That was very far from where this is. Spotted Tango, $10. Just lapped my 5820K using your guide with bearded hardware. Nice. That was mostly him yelling at me to buy better sandpaper. Had some bidding from Liquid Metal, and my God, 6-degree reduction at idle, and core-to-core deltas are super tight now. Thank you. Nice. Yeah, 6 degrees reduction is a pretty large drop for just lapping. So that's you must have done a really good job on flattening it out for sure. And core-to-core deltas, you're definitely looking at the right place. That's typically the biggest place you'll see the difference is bringing down like the core that was the farthest away from getting into the cooler. So that is good to see. Chad Lemons, sure this has been asked. Do you play games ever or just benchmark them? I don't get a whole lot of time to play them anymore. I used to play games like 40 hours a week a long time ago, but these days when I do play games, it's typically the genre I mostly grew up on, which is RTS. So I play a lot of city builders, real-time strategy. I like the Total War series a lot. I played Apex Legends for a little bit, but that's pretty much it. Okay, so we're gonna get a score out of this, 5350. 3213 points, does that scale? That is actually 200 points higher than our last score, which was at 5.1. So 3213, wrote that down. Let's see if we can do 5.4, or maybe 545, go 1 gigahertz higher. That is really good scoring on this thing. Dual CCX sucks. Yeah, I know. We kind of like wrote the book on that before you guys even knew that was the configuration. I'm aware. Garrett Nichols, what's the highest frequency you've been able to get out of any Ryzen chips on LN2 so far? I think 5.5. I want to say it was on a Threadripper CPU or a 3950X. I think it was 5.5. John Bryant, cheap gaming laptop that can run at 1080p Ultra. You're asking the wrong person, sorry. I don't pay any attention to laptops at all. But I mean like a 2060 to 2070 class card, like 2070 mobile should probably be fine for that. Not sure about models though. Is there a reason to upgrade it to a 2080 rather than a 1080 if I don't care about ray tracing? Well, 2080 is a lot better than a 1080. But if you mean a 1080 Ti and you don't care about ray tracing, then there's not a huge reason if the 1080 Ti is cheaper. Our review would give you some info on that, but it's aged a bit since ray tracing is a lot more relevant now than it was then. They didn't have any games out when we reviewed the 2080. 5450, let's bring it back down to minus 150. 1.55 volts still. Spencer Levens, at what speed do you think you'll see diminishing returns? It looks like we started to see that around 5.1 or 2, just quickly glancing. Can it do it? Maybe. Joseph AVI Pro, disable proc hot. It'll stop the BCS temp. Yep, got that. Thank you. Adromelk, $5. Just wanted to thank you and your team for all that you do. You helped me build a great system. Thank you especially for the P400A review. Yeah, P400A was definitely the best case we worked with in 2019 for sure. I wish they actually had it in stock though. It's been terribly hard to like even see it. Seems like, I don't know if they're sold out or if they're just not making enough. Mabuk, what do you think is the safe voltage for a normal all-core overclock on Ryzen 3000? People are now saying 1.275 volts is unsafe, which seems crazy. I don't know. People say all kinds of stuff regarding overclocking. It's based on one CPU, and you don't really know how that person used it. So I don't really want to say what I think because I don't want people to take that number and then get mad when I say, I think it's this, but I'm not sure if their CPU degrades. So I'm not going to commit to an answer, and I know that's annoying, but I have thoughts on it. I think that 1.275 is probably a little aggressively low, but I'm not sure about the high end. So it didn't like that. What was our temperature when we died? 145. It seemed okay at like minus 155. So colder, I guess, is the answer if we want to push that 5450. 5.5 would be a kind of crazy clock. We're almost through these super chats. Devalsky, any chance of making a ModMat sized mouse pad? Well, we have something coming out soon that's not quite as big as the large 4x2 ModMat, but we do have a mouse mat coming out very soon that you should keep an eye out for. Facial impediment, $10, no message, thank you. Lola Brick, $2. How much RC could a 7700K get with an NHE 12A cooler? That is really specific. You're more asking about like the CPU at that point, but I don't know, like 4 something, 4.8, 4.9, 4.8. Feels more comfortable to me. I'm gonna heat this up to like minus 50 and we'll try for 5500, then we'll call it there. Legend FF. Love your reviews. What's the best alternative to the Liquid Freezer 2? I was thinking about the 360. Oh, the 280. I was thinking about the 360, but not sure it would work with my P400A. I don't think it will, but I'm not sure. The P300 definitely not. But good alternatives would be the EKAIO, which I haven't posted the review yet. And I don't know how good it is internally yet. But I do know that the thermals are pretty comparable to Arctic solution. So EKIO might be one to consider. Kraken X62 is good. It's not as good, but it's definitely one of the better ones. Cam sucks. I like really hate the software. It's garbage. Just got to get up to minus 50. We're at minus 70 right now. Reed H, what's your most fun undervolting experience? Undervolting. I got my 3500U to 3.3 gigahertz at 1050 millivolts. And I'm looking forward to the, you should be careful about that. I don't know about the U, but just as a note, with Ryzen it's possible to undervolt it, but actually the scores are really bad. So it'll look like it's stable, but it's running much worse. We did a video on it. I think if you search like undervolting Ryzen, you would find it. That said, I had the most fun undervolting Vega, I think, probably Vega 56. There was actually a really big gain in performance from doing it there. We're trying for 5,500 megavolts. 5,500 megahertz is what we're trying for. It's chat saying, you need to move the GPU in a farther away slot. Says Joe. Helps with cold. I believe it. But we're just going to do this and then stop. I just want to get through these super chats. Ant.exe. If Gamers Nexus did a scratch build for looks, what would it look like? Complete blackout. No LEDs. Energy is saying, do you think Intel deserves an F with AMD providing compelling alternatives at every price point? Also, woe to you, O Earth and Sea. Yes, referencing the Iron Maiden reference I had in the last one. Deserves an F with AMD providing compelling alternatives at every price point. No, I don't think they deserve an F, like if we're grading them like a school. Because they still do have things they're better in, like Photoshop, for example, gaming, as an example. So the 10 series for sure needs to be serious. If Intel can't get it back together with the 10 series, they're going to be in trouble for a while. Okay. That's annoying. 5450. It was almost stable at 1.55. Okay. Nope. Shouldn't have done that without cooling it down, I guess. Okay, let's get through the rest of these and then probably stop there. Recommended I'll recap the scores at the end too for people to skip ahead later. PB Volto recommended motherboard for a 1700 to upgrade to 3000. Well, I would say B450 Tomahawk, but you're not going to be able to do Zen 3 then. So that complicates things. I don't really like the idea of telling you to buy a 570 board because they're so damn expensive. And B550 is not going to be out till June. And I bet there's going to be stock issues once it is out. So, I mean, if you don't care about Zen 3, then I guess B450 Tomahawk's still really good. If not, then a cheaper X570 board. We have a video by BuildZoid. If you search the channel for best AM4 motherboards or best Ryzen motherboards, you'll get 2 videos. Choose the most recent one. I think it's from December. And there's a whole list in the description. Check that out, and then you can find what we think in terms of pricing for the X570 cheaper boards. Overwolf, CPU upgrade recommended for 5820K gaming and compiling. If you do more compiling than gaming, that would change the recommendation. But let me pull up our Chromium tests at least. So within like the $500 price class, the 3900X stock was finishing our compile in 65 minutes, and the 9900K stock was finishing in 105 minutes. Quite the advantage there on AMD's. 5.1 gigahertz 9900K was 88 minutes. If you do a lot more code work and you're trying to spend about $500, I mean, first of all, wait for the 10 series, not that far. Let's see how that does. But otherwise, I would say if you're doing more code work, then maybe, and it's similar to our Chromium benchmark, then maybe the 3900X if you're trying to spend about 500, and then if you do more gaming, I guess 9900K. Depends how much. If you're making money off of it, I'd probably favor the compile work. Let's just do this as the last attempt here. I'm not going to click apply this time. Actually, you know what I should do is bring it down and apply, and then go here and disable. Okay, and then we can bring it back up. All right. Wishbone. Big Navi will challenge the 1080 Ti or 2080 Ti or higher. I don't know. People, I always feel so bad about not being able to like answer those questions, but I don't actually know that much about the new hardware. Like, I learn about it maybe 2 weeks before you guys do, especially when it comes to performance. So, unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that. I don't really try to speculate about it because I'm just making stuff up at that point. So, there's more chance it'll be useless than anything. Metal Jackson RR3. Hi, my 3700X doesn't go past 3.5 gigahertz. Any advice? 3.5? Like the AMD 3700? I think my advice is to RMA that CPU. That sounds like something is wrong. Or maybe try like a different BIOS. Or if you have a local store that sells stuff, maybe you could just buy a board and bring it back if that doesn't fix the problem. But that sounds like a defect somewhere. Shaky Shingy. How to expand NVMe slots. Hyper M2 card work with X570 Asus tough. I only have one on the motherboard, but want more NVMe drives. Yeah, you could get like the gigabyte PCIe extension or expansion card. I don't know the name of it, but if you search for gigabyte NVMe PCIe card, you'll probably find it. Did I set 4 or 5? I think I typed in the wrong number. Let's see. Calrin, disable F. The Eternal Dreamers to $199 to buy a Hot Pocket. I don't know if I want the $199. If that's what I have to spend it on, I'm sorry to say. Can I buy tater tots with it? Baja Truck Guy, $5. Tater tots, there you go. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Bearded Hardware, $199. You hit the limit. So when he sent this at 540, we had not hit the limit. We have probably now. It's actually doing 5350 megahertz was my last clock. So almost 5.4 gigahertz. That is really a lot higher than I expected. 1.55 volts, pretty happy with that. David Powers pulled the trigger on a mod mat a few days ago. Finally, I tinker with my BS on a proper surface. Thank you for picking it up. That is the goal of it, to one, not damage the table, and two, just kind of make it easier to work with everything. So glad you're liking it so far. Turkey Chiblet, $4.99. Thoughts on the Lian Li TU-150? Would you review it? Is that the new one or the old one? I do know that's the 2019 one. Okay. It's small. It's like, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that series, but it is small. The original TU was actually pretty sweet. The one that had a handle on it and was shaped like I don't know. It was probably like a foot by a foot or something. But I have not worked with the TU-150. I saw it at trade shows and that was about it. Okay, that's last attempt, and then I'll just read the super chats if that dies. 150. Minus 155, minus 160, okay. See if extra cold gets it through. Minus 170, that's probably a little too much. Go. Okay, 1392. I don't know what frequency we were running. 1392, 1.55, minus 180. It's amazing that there's still actually progress this late in the stream. I'll take it. It ran. I don't know what frequency I ran. Someone tell me. I think it was 5450. Or was it 5500? I think it was 5450. Someone tell me what I was running there. I guess I could scrub back in the... Let's see. So I know I misadjusted it the first time to like 44 something, and then I fixed it. Oh, is that it? Just checking the DVR stream thing. Okay, yeah, so I misapplied it first, 4450. And I redid it. So, okay, there it is. 5450, yeah, thank you. That is really good. Man, sweet. So it just needed more cold. It was minus 180 degrees is where it kept plunging. Like as soon as the load stopped, what I should have done was stuck the torch in there because the temperature kept plunging as soon as the power stopped on the CPU. So it went down to like minus 190 and then just shut off. So I think I could have kept it alive, but we're going to cap it there. I'm really happy with that result. So for people, I'm going to read the rest of the super chats. We're going to do some of the other shout outs. But for people who are kind of jumping later in the stream, or if you just joined recently, let me recap the scoring for you. We had stock run for points, and you can just do percent scaling to get an idea for this, but 1,008-ish points for stock, and then we ran at 4.4 gigahertz, and it was about 11-13 points for CBR 15. That was at only minus 20 degrees Celsius, actually minus 20 degrees Celsius. We had to run at minus 42 degrees Celsius at 4.6 gigahertz all core, and that was 1.4 volts. This is where it started looking really good. I wasn't expecting it to work that well. And that was 1187 points. Went down to actually still minus 41, 4.7 gigahertz all core, 1.4 volts, 1242 points, minus 70, 4.8, 1.4 volts, and then it was 1233, and then I added CBR 20. So if you care about that, that was 2892 at that point. We'll do a recap video with all this. Minus 81 degrees was 4.9 gigahertz, 1.4. That was 2948, it looks like, for CBR 20, and 1260 points for R15. So there is pretty good scaling all the way up. We eventually did the max that we could on 1.4. That was minus 100 degrees, 5 gigahertz, 1.4 volts, really, really good. The get voltage in SVI 12 was 1.394. That was 1281. So we've stopped scaling at this point, lost efficiency. That was also a 3,013 point score for R20. And then we did power draw at 5450. I don't know, I didn't have it running, but it should have been pretty similar. So we were like, power draw is like 7 to 8 for the amperage multiplied by 12. Let's see. We did 5.1 at minus 100 degrees, 1.5 volts. That was 1311 R15. Eventually hit 5350, minus 152 degrees Celsius, 1.55 volts, 1360 for R15, 3213 for R20, and this one, minus 180, 5450, 1.55, and 1392. So that's, I'm really, really impressed with this CPU. Okay, let me read the rest of the super chats here. So, Tutelarius says, that radiator plus fan array would look great behind some tempered glass. No. No, that's not how you use it. But you should be a case product manager. I think Corsair's actually hiring one of those right now. Just send them that. They'll hire you right away. Mag1988. Hi, Steve. Can you recommend a water block for a Zotac 2080 Super Amp? No, I don't have the PCB layout in my head. Sorry. I'll tell you, like, I don't know specifically for that, but I'll tell you at least that we've worked with a lot of water-cool ones, the company, lately, and I've been pretty impressed with their quality overall. There was like an oxidation issue with one of them, but overall I've really liked the quality on those. Evocati Productions. If Steve, this one involves you, Andrew. If Steve is Tech Jesus, then Andrew is Ocular Moses. Give my compliments to the cameraman. Definitely the best at Blender ever. He says thank you. Hardware numbers. Oh, I got yours earlier as the recommendation. Bearded Hardware Should try down to 160. Well, that's what we did, and it worked. So good recommendation an hour ago. Steph Dav, what is your preferred mechanical keyboard? No preference. I don't really care that much, like as far as keyboards go. Brown switches are quieter. I don't like the louder switches anymore. It's too much with all the typing we do. Sean Grant, off subject, but on the subject of mountain bikes, have you considered putting a 66cc motor on a mountain bike? No. But I have an e-bike that I've shown on the secondary channel, on the GN Steve channel, if you want to look at that. I've not considered putting a 66cc motor on a mountain bike, though. John Bryant, have a 1070. Have a 1070 looking for a reason to upgrade GPU. It's a generation old, I guess, if you're looking for a reason. I don't know. If you're not happy with the performance, then I guess there's plenty of reasons you could find, but that's not enough for me to provide help. I'm sorry. D4RK51D332. LN sounds so satisfying when you pour it from the thermos to the thermos. Speaking of pouring, here's some dollars to have beer on me. Well, thanks for the $5. D4RK51D332. Yeah, LN2 makes a pretty cool noise. That's why I don't want to use RTX voice with it. Metal Jackson, did I get yours? Yes, I did. The Sickness 1234. Which CPU is this? 7980XE? No, but I'm glad someone remembers that meme. We're almost through these, finally. This took me a long time. Eric Lawrence, what would you use for a mini ITX build today? Like, case? I don't know what case I like. Silverstone's mini ITX cases. I like the SG. I think it was the 13, the Sugo 13. I think it's old now, but they have a 14 also. I really like that one because it was pretty high airflow. It's not that large. It's definitely larger than super mini ITX cases you can get, but I liked it a lot because it's good performance. Fallon Piquel, $10. Longtime fan. Shut up and take my money. I don't feel like I can really say thanks or anything to that because then I wouldn't be following the order. But thank you. Hardware numbers. After -100, -120, raise SoC to 1.5. We did end up going to 1.4 on that. F-clock should hold 1500 plus full pot. If you have cold boot, lower F-clock. I'm checking where to find PLL on an MSI board. Yeah, I'll try the PLL next time. We did raise SoC to 1.4. Ended up at 5450 megahertz, which I'm pretty happy with. I'm sure we could do more though, but definitely I think bringing down the temperature. So hardware numbers are saying 121, 110, 120. I think bringing down the temperature helped a lot. Hellcats, I second the short circuit shirt request. I guess I'll message him. Cord Misa, what current voltage are you on? Did you not leave it at 1.55? We did end up leaving it at 155. Almost to the last of these. I can see the bottom of the sheet now. Thank you for all the support. Thank you also for being patient, getting through all of them. Man's LTX 2020 cancellation thoughts. Good question. I talked with Linus about this when we were in Taiwan and said like, hey, word on the street about Computex is that it's going to be postponed. And I said, you know, that if this is, this was early March, so we didn't really know what was happening at that point. I said, if this is kind of cleared up by the time LTX is, it might be a good opportunity for you to host some of the product launches that were going to be at Computex. And it sounded like that was kind of lining up, but then obviously things got worse. So, I mean, my thoughts are they probably made the correct move because can you imagine the first of all, people are going to be afraid to travel. People in media would be afraid to travel. And then imagine like the PR side of things too, where it's like, you just took out every tech content creator. Everyone's like sick for weeks. So definitely the right move. I think they might be considering an online thing, but I'm not sure what the status of that is. I'd be happy to be involved though if they do it. And I should note, he said that they do want to come back for 2021. So it's just for, well, you know, as long as human malwares are concerned anyway. A person, what voltage will instantly kill a chip with LN2? I know for older CPUs, but not anything newer than 32 nanometers. I'm not sure. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe 2. I'm not really sure. It's not something I actively try to do. So, Brenny Boy, $5. Oh, this is technically at 611, but I'll try and get the last of these because, oh man, there's still a lot of messages. I tried to set a cutoff at 6:10, but still people kept sending stuff in. So I appreciate it. I'll try to read them within reason. Thank you for providing content to us during this rough time. Game on, everybody. Game on, indeed. That was a really good overclocking session. Reggie Reginato, $5. Thank you. No message. Zalix, safe voltage for 10920X. Not a lot of info out there. I'm at 4.9, 1.28 with exotic cooling right now. Happy to be a Patreon sub. Exotic cooling opens the door a lot because now you're talking about maintaining lower temperatures. So I guess tag me in the Patreon Discord with what that means, with what exotic cooling means to you. Shady actually maybe tag Buildzoid too, I guess. Shady97342. Thanks for the CPU revisit video. Still rocking my 4690K 4.7. That's a really good clock for that. It's interesting to see how it does compared to the newer chips. Yeah, I really like doing the revisits also. It gives you perspective that this stuff ages actually pretty well a lot of the time. Okay, I'm going to cut it. I said 610. I think some people probably came in after that, but I'm going to cut it in a minute here. Corey Albert, awesome stream. Don't OC much anymore, but proud of my old 4.1. Pentium 4, 1.6 gigahertz. I got to 3.0 back in the day. I have never overclocked a P4. VC Jester, you're way better at this than that guy with a bigger beard. I disagree with you for multiple reasons, one of which is he will probably hurt me if I agree with you. Chris Cannon, $2. Maybe this will help you buy some gloves. I don't want to use them for this. Actually, mediocre overclocking. Just woke up. There's an OC stream going on. Sweet. Could you be convinced to play a match of MTG at something like LTX? I don't think I've played Magic probably in like 8, maybe 7 years. I was super into it for a while. I played in Standard around the Avacyn era, and I hated that set, but it's been a while. Maybe at something like LTX if there's actually time, but a Magic game is not quick to play. I'll tell you what, I'm not playing EDH though. I refuse to play it. Excalus Ogrelord. Join the bald, gain. No. Eric Lacasse. For forward compatibility, which chipset is better for the money, X570 or B550? Well, forward compatibility, it sounds like they're both about the same. So B550 if you're looking for the money. All right. Let me skim. I've answered pretty much all these questions. Which CPU would you use as part of a cost-effective VR build? They're all mostly fine. 3600 maybe. Who's your favorite late-night TV host of all time? I don't think I really have one. Lately, they've been annoying me because they don't have to follow the same YouTube rules we do with disclosure of advertisements, so I guess that's cool. Axios. Steve, check your Discord DMs for something Iron Maiden-y. I will do that. Okay. All the rest of these are like, why are you using a 3100s? And I've answered that. So, and then a bunch of messages from ZDG. All right, cool. So yeah, recap then is 5450 is what we did. I'm really happy with that. It's better than I expected. So thank you for joining me. We really appreciate you making the stream fun and contributing. Also, those of you who contributed like to, some of the suggestions like disabling Procot or Crockpot or Tater Tot or whatever else you were calling it in the chat. And I have to figure out how to end a stream in the new interface. Okay, I found it. Thanks for watching. We'll try and do a recap for this shortly. Check back for that. Subscribe for more as always. Go to store.gamersnexus.net to help us out directly. And like I said, check back for the recap. We'll see you all next time.